All right. And we are live. The last word. LordCognito, Ebontis, Ty Guy Travis, fresh on that Thursday evening campfire. Lots to discuss in Destiny, lots to discuss in the review world of Starfield and all type of impressions and drama and
Yeah,
fun and crazy.
seriously, yeah. Well, I was gonna say we had last week off just because Starfield, literally, like everything, the embargo was last week. We're just like, we're not touching that. All that stuff was kind of going on. And then, were you gone the week before? I'm trying to think the last time you've been on here. So it's been a hot. So when is the last stuff that you talked about? Because I think it was just you and I when Travis was out, but it was like,
yeah, he wasn't even here for the Bungie direct.
Yeah, I haven't even talked about the Bungie.
Yeah.
All
right. Yeah. So I guess first off, what I've been doing, still playing a decent amount of Starfield, working on content on that. Thank you for all of you who have watched my tips video. That got another banger on that one. Not talking about that tip. Oh my God. Yeah, see, I knew he was going there. I knew he was going there.
Hanging on them tips, baby.
On the tip, bruh.
No, but it crossed like 250K views again. So yeah, I was like, apparently that's like a niche that seems to be doing okay on the channel. So thank you guys for all the support there. But yeah, it just seems like the whole world's been talking about Starfield for pretty much a week straight. So I've been kind of still playing the same. I did dabble a little bit in Crota. I ran it yesterday. Didn't do contest. We'll talk about that though with numbers and stuff like that. Kind of the feedback, how long it was taken, just the changes to it. And other than that, just kind of waiting for stuff that's coming up in
Is there a
September.
Dado apology video incoming? The difficulty and
no, it's funny because Fallout literally made a video like it's either he's like, I know this is going to be one of two videos before he made the video, and it's like one, he's going to be talking about Dado's video about the fact that the raid is trash, or it's going to be the fact that Crota came out and actually was pretty well, and he's like, it went the other direction, so it was not a smackdown on Crota being like a glorified strike or anything like that. I mean, it took longer than Ron by a decent amount of time. The Reprised raid was the race came down to under 2 minutes for like number 1 and number 2. It was that tight, like 90 seconds. Like you respawned and like you were both on the final run and they just finished it first. So it was the closest race they've ever had, and it was over. It was probably like 6-7 hours. I can't remember how long it took. It was
That's not bad for a raid where they already knew all the content. It's not bad at all.
So, kind of kept up with that over the weekend. About 2 weeks ago, and I think I told you guys this. One of probably my closest aunt that I grew up around, she passed away, and then kind of the funeral and everything happened. The funeral literally, like, we had the kind of celebration of life at the church, which was one of my cousin's perfect words because I couldn't have gotten through it. That really great thing for her at that part, but she also served in the Air Force, went to nursing school and served in the Air Force. She was kind of a badass. And
what an interesting lady.
Yeah, she was a nurse in the neo-intensive care unit, so like NICU and stuff like that forever. Also served in the Air Force for a long time, and then she married somebody else in the Air Force. She was a lieutenant colonel, and so was he. But yeah, so we went through that stuff in the morning, and then literally like the salute, like the shots being fired was going off at 11 as like embargo was going down and everything. So I was like, yeah, just completely. I posted I didn't sleep much, got the review up and all that stuff, and then the tips video, came home, worked on that, and posted it the next day. But yeah, it was yeah, she was a cool lady, but she'd been through a lot between cancer and radiation and treatment and all that stuff, and it was just like, and then it happened fast, and she kind of went how she wanted to at home. So it was, but yeah, it happened really, really fast. Like my mom told me that they were putting her in hospice, which typically would last for a little while. I was like, hey, how long? Because I had recently actually gone to see her, like within the last month or two, and I hadn't seen her in a long time. So in the last month or two, I got to see her, catch up just a little bit, and then then it was like my mom called me on like a Wednesday and said, hey, just so you know, we're putting her in hospice. The PET scan came back and they found something in her hip. And then it was like Saturday, she called me and said she was gone. It was like they hadn't even set up everything at her house yet. It just, whatever happened. So
My
That
condolences,
was a combination of trying to do a Starfield review, and that was a little bit in the background and helping my mom with stuff and other things. So it was busy couple of weeks. That's kind of where I've been. What about you guys? Hopefully bring it up a little bit. Travis, how you been, man?
Like, go to Travis. I think I'm
Exact same. Nothing but funerals, guys. Past couple weeks. I'm just kidding.
Really?
No, I'm joking. That would be hilarious though.
That would be
It's just like, and he's like, bring it up, Travis, and I'm like, sorry, I went to 3 funerals. Yeah. No. I've been reviewing games and making guides and stuff. So I think we talked about this last show, but I didn't review Starfield, but I did make a ton of guides for it, and I played more than 200 hours of that game before it came out, and I've basically played like 5 hours since it came out.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, you put that much time in. I think you were good.
yeah.
So.
Well, I also just had to move on to other projects. I beat Lies of P yesterday.
Wow.
And I'm working on the review for that
Nice.
tonight. So that'll be going up for embargo on Wednesday at 8 a.m. And then I think it comes out a couple days later. It comes out on the 19th. So actually it comes out the next week. And then my next review is Payday 3,
Nice.
which I'm excited for.
Nice.
That's
an
in
open beta
now.
this.
Yeah,
pretty
so
open
I'm
beta.
I'm technically reviewing the beta. We're gonna do like an early access review in progress, and then I'll probably do the full review later. And then Lords of the Fallen is the next big one that's coming up. So
Yeah.
keeping busy, doing that, engaging in all this really exciting Starfield discourse, and good times there. No, but it's been a good time, man. I'm doing what I love. I'm going to be on Podcast Beyond on Tuesday.
Let's go.
Hey.
Let's go. That's
so you still haven't been on Unlocked though, right? You're back.
Technically, I've been on Unlocked.
Oh yeah, I think we
as a
talked about
voice because Destin called me on the phone and asked me a question while he was live on air in
Hilarious.
Unlocked. And the problem is he didn't tell me that he was live on the air, so I just sound like a dude who was answering the phone, talking to a friend.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I could have swore or something.
Yeah,
Like, he
you
gave
Yeah,
no
you need
heads up
you need warning on
whatsoever.
that. Come on.
He just was like, "Hey, dude, why did you give Grounded a 9?" And then I just explained it to him like not that well. And then later I found out he was like holding his phone up to the mic. Podcast Unlocked. So
That's
I don't know if you count that I've been on Podcast Unlocked, but yeah, this will be I think the third IGN show that I'm officially appearing in. Fireteam Chat, Podcast Unlocked, and I've been on the Nintendo Voice Chat a bunch of times. So yeah, so the fourth if you count my unwitting appearance on Unlocked. But yeah, that's
your
still
voice
definitely
is
a bucket
forever
list
on the
item.
internet as part of Unlocked. You can
Yeah.
you can claim it as that.
But it's not like Cog here, who's like a Unlocked regular apparently. Doesn't get
Yeah. Right now it's I
Mhm.
was gonna say Cock can't cook, but that's what Paris calls him. I'm trying to think of
Kyle. Yeah. his name's Kyle.
Khalif?
Khalif, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
Khalif from Spawn on Me. Yeah, but I couldn't think of a whole thing. I was just thinking because him and Paris go back and forth and their cooking thing is hilarious to watch. Yeah, they're giving each other a good time. So you're playing and reviewing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, playing and reviewing, you know. For me, obviously, thanks everybody for the kind words and stuff like that with my recovery. You know, it's been going good, you know. Obviously, for those who didn't know, I was hospitalized for about 5 days. It was a unique strand of COVID in conjunction with pneumonia, which brought back my diverticulitis. So basically, I was fighting 3 things at once, and was able to fight that and get oxygen, breathe on my own, and then, yeah, doctors gave me the sobering truth of like, look, you know, you're if you weren't an in shape guy, this could have took you out. So the tears flowed, and I was like, all right, my health armor saved me. So at least it was good that I did those things to put me in position. And now, you know, I see specialists pretty much every day post just to make sure as far as the residual effects. And not 100% yet, but slowly but surely building back up, listening and pacing myself. During that period, obviously the Starfield review happened. Shout out to everybody who supported that. We got like 4 or 5 different perspectives. I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a game I can't talk about that we are covering that hopefully next week you guys should hear about. You know, looking to give our impressions on that. And
I saw you got to visit some vehicles.
Yeah. Similar to that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, similar to that. And then PAX West, again, I couldn't get out of it, but shout out to the guys. They were like, bro, You know, just come for an hour, 2 hours, go back to the hotel room, rest. We'll take care of the interviews. We'll take care of the appointments. So I got a chance to check out Lords of the Fallen behind the scene. I really think
Nice.
you're gonna love that game. I really
I'm
think you're
waiting
gonna like
for
it.
it. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that one specifically has. I mean, I love the two perspectives. I mean,
Mhm.
you got older games that have done that. Even Titanfall, when you're flipping, that's still one of the best
Yeah.
campaigns. But like switching between them, but the puzzle aspect of now, like in Remnant, like you got to explore, you got to figure out an actual puzzle. This is like if you don't use your lantern and look into the other realm, you might not even know a whole pathway and doors over there. So they can hide so much stuff in that
So
other
much.
world. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
If you don't explore a lot, you'll probably miss, 5 or 10 bosses or something, depending on how big the game is. So I'm looking forward to Lords of the Fallen because, I mean, it's of the same name, so they're messing with that a little bit. Like why they can't call it 2, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Travis and I joked
Because they're
about like
trying to separate it.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
trying to separate it. The developers are highly aware that the
yeah,
first one was not liked.
yeah.
But I will say this is probably the most confident showing of a game we saw behind the scenes. And they were just
It's
like,
Yeah.
looked
go ahead.
good.
Yeah.
I mean,
they
you
were like,
guys,
was
did
an
you guys do
IGN
a
first
full,
game.
first, yeah.
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 It was an
Oh, you
IGN
get it first.
game
Oh,
a
that's
couple
what's
months
up.
ago. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Mitchell Saltzman covered that, but I'm doing the review.
Mhm.
And I will say I've tried very hard to not look at anything for this game because I want to kind of go into the review clean slate. Like I don't even know the lantern thing that you was talking about.
Sorry.
That's going to be a surprise to me.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Mhm.
I haven't seen it. It's still going to surprise me.
Mhm.
But yeah, everything I have seen so far, even though I've tried to
So
stay away
cool.
from it, looks really damn good. So I'm excited for
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, the engine looks really smooth. I would say the best stuff that I saw there, Tekken 8 looked phenomenal on Unreal Engine 5. That was a showpiece. Indie scene had some really cool little indies that I really thought they showed out on. It was just like weird boxing game. It was kind of like a spinoff of Mike Tyson Punch Out, but it was kind of goofy and cool in its own little way.
This is
Trying to-
PAX.
Yeah. Indies showed out. There was some really cool, unique indies that I thought. It was a Dungeons and Dragons game. I think it's called for the King 2. That was pretty cool. There was a cell shaded game that Xbox showed. I think it was called Dungeons of Hindenburg. That I got a chance to check that out. Some things I ain't feeling about it, but I like the art style, I like the direction, I like the puzzles, but they still got a little bit of refining for me. But overall, I thought PAX was cool, and good to see everybody that came out and showed love, and that was fun. I got to see a lot of people.
Or what
Was it
puzzles were
worth
you talking
5
about?
days
I
in the
walked away.
hospital?
With two questions, sorry.
I was curious. You
They're
were saying
different
something about
questions.
puzzles when I was coming back. I was like, what puzzles were you talking about?
No, it was this game called Dungeons of Hindenburg. That
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it was like this little indie game. Trav, what was your question?
I would love it if he just opened up a pizza. Like that's
Yeah,
what he was
I
going
just
for,
start
man.
eating a
Yeah, I just
pizza.
have like a
He
pizza
just-
right here.
It's like
It's
a
this
personal
this has
pizza.
got to be a pizza box, but I'll tell you, it's not a
Yeah.
pizza in here. I'll show you in a second.
Yeah, I know. I can tell.
Yeah, it
it's
do look like a
electronic.
pizza box.
It's electronics. I've seen those boxes.
It's like, it shouldn't
but
be that.
It's gonna be wires. I bet. Watch. Let's see.
What be that? Yeah, it do look like wires. Oh, what's
Less
that?
interesting. Now I'm not interested anymore. Asked you if PAX was worth 5 days in the hospital. The PAX bug.
No.
Is it worth becoming patient zero of a new
That
strain
bro,
of COVID?
patient.
Yeah.
I go front. I was so honored. Like the way they treated me, Trav, it was hilarious. They were like, "We haven't had a COVID patient in like three.
They should
3
call it the
months."
Cognito strain.
Bro, guess what the name of the strand is? Eris.
Cognito. Oh,
The name.
I was close.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, it's
what's
new Destiny shirt.
the new
Marathon.
Destiny? Oh, that's
Marathon.
marathon. Okay.
Wow,
That's
he's
what's up.
already a marathon
United
simp. It's more than
yeah.
you, yeah.
It's
He's a
for
marathon main.
It's
What
the
a
Bungie
Bungie
Foundation, but it's
fanboy.
like the number on the back is 0777 for them. But it's the
Mhm.
marathon shirt from the Bungie Foundation. That's what it was.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, that's been it for me. So what's been going on, man, in the world?
Oh, this little space adventure game came out. It's funny though, because I've listened to Duke.
Mhm.
I've listened to I think
Oh,
we
where
got-
was Duke on it? I haven't heard. How did he like it? Is he a big fan or is he?
Maddie likes it. He doesn't because he's Bethesda. So he has it towards the top of the Pantheon, but he doesn't have it like above the Skyrim
great,
Fallouts. Yeah, he don't have it there.
That's
Yeah.
kind of where I would put it, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'm kind of with
Mhm.
him. Yeah.
Mhm.
To me, it's like an 8 out of 10. I really liked it, but it's got some stuff where I'm like, you really could have done a better job with that. Like encumbrance is one of the sticking points to me.
Yeah,
Procedurally
sure.
generated worlds, I feel like didn't really work. But on the whole, like it's just such a cool game. Who doesn't
Yeah.
want to be a space pirate?
Yeah, it's like, so I heard
Mhm.
Bitcast. I listened to that with you guys that morning. That was entertaining because you'd
That
played
was
the
a fun one.
most.
Yeah.
And then I went on Mooch.
Wait,
asked
I
me
gotta
to-
back up 1 second. Bitcat, what's Hoag's thoughts? I'm curious.
Hoag loves it. It's one of his favorite games ever, which is crazy because he was the most anti-Starfield. Like
Yeah.
a year ago when they did the reveal, he was like, "This looks like the most unimaginative game they could have come up with."
I feel like I never can call his. Like,
Right, he's so unpredictable.
I knew it was gonna be his type of game as soon as I saw that it was, like, all gonna be lore and world building and not really
Yeah.
focused on the other stuff, because I think there were a few groups of people. There were some people who thought it was gonna be a space sim like No Man's Sky. Those people are probably all disappointed because it's not a space sim at all.
yeah.
There's the people who just thought Skyrim in space. Those people are happy.
Yep.
And then there's people who thought, or maybe didn't think, but were surprised to find that it's really just like Bethesda's best world building storytelling they've done so far. That's the one part I will say is better than any Bethesda game. Like the quest lines, the faction quest lines, the main story, all that shit is like super, super dialed in and good. It's really just like the other freedom and expansiveness stuff that I think they aspired to that they didn't really get close to achieving. I think that's where it fell with. Yeah, it's really good.
So you was on Crossfire. You were the Crossfire?
Yeah, Mooch asked me to go on Crossfire like an hour before it started.
Boy.
No, I hadn't actually been on the show.
Oh boy. Shout out to Mooch.
Every
Let me
so
guess. He thinks it's a 2 out of 10.
No, he was actually trying to just play devil's advocate for the discussion. He hadn't actually really jumped in, so he was playing because I again had played the most. I was about 100 hours by the time I jumped in at that point. But there was I'm blanking on so many names. I feel horrible.
Yeah, usually has
Brap was on there.
Rap. There's the name.
Bit no,
BitCloud,
maybe
Bad Bit, Mr. Bad Bit.
Bad Bit, yeah, Bad Bit was on there.
Dreamcast guy was there because he usually comes on that show a lot.
Oh yeah,
Is that Joe?
Dreamcast guy was on there.
Bit.
Yeah. I'm trying to go to his Twitter, which I'm sure has way too much stuff on it, but I was just trying to look for who was on there.
Bad Take? Bad Take Joe? Bad Bit? Is that him?
Oh damn! Shots fired at Joe. Shots fired
What?
at Mr. Bad Bit.
Isn't that his name? Bad Take or something?
They be clowning my man. You gotta leave my man alone.
No, I mean it was a reasonable discussion, but it's like when I'm not. I feel like when I'm hosting, I got to be a little more. I am reserved. Just trying
Yeah,
like
you're a host.
I was like I'm just kind of in a different place when I do that. So you had Dreamcast guy, Mr. Bad Bit, Gamers Gamut was on there, and then I know Brap came on later and stuff. So they had different discussions, but there were just some points where they were talking about, do you think there are, is there any, and I just got real tired of like some of the BS that's been going around the internet. And I was just like, this crap's got to stop. Like, I don't care what box, what like controller you're holding, what screen you're looking at. And it just like, there were certain, so I got a reel on that podcast for just a little bit, and it was just kind of one of those things where I finally got to unload on kind of all of the stupid stuff on the internet for about a week. But it was good because I think generally they were just trying to understand how the early game felt, because that's where a lot of them were at, versus how it sounds later on. Because I can't remember which one asked the question, but I was like, hey, early on it's kind of feeling like this, but if you're saying it gets to this level, that makes me more excited to kind of keep diving into it.
Yeah.
And
it does get better after the first like 10 to 20 hours.
100% agree.
A lot better.
And I think that was the big thing, because I mean, you guys know my game was bugged. Like I straight up had to send my save. I had to send my save. It got fixed, came back to me. And then at that point, I get to experience the main quest line. But without that, I would have been like, I mean, the side factions were cool, but the main one's kind of an important piece, especially with New Game Plus. You get to see what's going on. Well, I mean, if I would have missed all of that, I don't know where I would have landed per se. But I mean, I landed on an 8 like Travis, kind of in probably a very different path. But
oh, you did? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I landed on an 8. I couldn't get to a 9 because I have been actually trying when I do a review to look at the IGN scale, because I like the wording. And again, it was a point where whether it was like 4 out of 5 or 8 out of 10, it was going to be the same thing. It was like, it wasn't a 7. It could have been a 7. And that's the thing. It was like,
it could have been a 7.
It could have been a 7. And that was like, for me, I literally was like, and I told him on Crossfire, I was like, I can understand a 6 to a 9. If you give it a 10, you are really like, okay. I was like, no, but I was like, for me, it's like, then you really are looking past any of the flaws because they are there. I was like, I currently have a save. When I go back to New Atlantis right now, there is a texture in the middle of New Atlantis that is just gone. It has not loaded, and not that the texture is gone, the also loading of the floor is gone. So people fall through. I no longer have like the kiosk for trade authority when you land in New Atlantis or the bounty things. The kiosks are gone. So
That's
certain
crazy.
things haven't loaded now. So it's like,
Right.
it's not a perfect game, but I'm also like, if you gave it a 6, I'm like, there's enough here that if the nitpicks bug you, I could also see it. And that's kind of the thing I was saying. I understand a 6 to a 9. Crucifying any one reviewer on the internet is just dumb. I'm like,
That's
let it
right.
go. They have like, it is one person's opinion. And that's kind of what I
Right.
said. I was like, find the people who you resonate with as reviewers, take them as a collective, not just one. And then you can still establish your own opinion after that. It's like, it is not that hard. Don't be an idiot. It's just like, that was the frustration I got into. I forgot how it led into that in Crossfire, but I was like, it is one person's opinion. It's like, and I can see a 6, which is even lower. You saw some of those, up to a 9. It's like, if they give it like a 99, I'm like, you're apologizing for a lot, but again, maybe this is the game you were looking for, and you're like, I know Bethesda's going to be there, and that's fine. I just don't think it's a critical review at that point. But again, that's still my opinion. You can have yours too, and that was all I kind of got into on Crossfire. Was I just got tired of like anybody going after any one person, or that there's any type of bias. I'm like, no decent site is going to do that. Like, same thing any person tries to do is like, all I'm trying to do is let you know what I thought about a game, and I think that's what any other reviewer does, because whether it's the amount of time you get to put into a review beforehand, Travis does this better than anybody because he kills himself, and I don't know how you put out the reviews that you do, but you're always like, that's why I loved listening to Bitcast with you, talking about your review, because they were like, oh, well, I'm okay, and it's like, because they were talking about, I'm trying to remember what Ains was saying. Oh, um, it was, God, and you came back kind of perfectly too.
Got a good ball for
Which
that.
part
You
was
got a
it?
good ball for Ings.
No, it was when he kind of got to the question of, when a game is at scale, or it's trying to do certain things, can you apologize for certain parts? It was whatever that piece of the discussion
Yeah.
was, and the way you guys were going back and forth. I'm like, I gotta give Travis his moment here as a reviewer, because he is as logical and rational about every review every time. Doesn't change. Doesn't matter what game it is, and he's always going to be there. And it's just like, that is the level-headed reviewer, and I think that's one, why you have good success at IGN. But two, just listening to the way it's like, well, and Ains was like, well, that stuff doesn't bother me, and you're just like, well, is this a well-designed game system? Period. Doesn't matter if it doesn't bother me or whatever. How is it in the game? And that was a really good one. So if you guys haven't seen the Bitcast this past weekend, definitely worth a listen as well. And go watch Duke, because they had a great discussion with Gene on there. I saw you guys had Park on there, which was awesome. Yeah.
Gene was awesome.
So yeah, just kind of gathered what everybody else thought. And honestly, everybody I listened to, I understood just about everybody. I think a lot of people kind of landed in the same ballpark. Whether you put a different number on it, I think the feelings were the same. It was just kind of where it hit you.
Yeah,
So,
that's what it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, I've actually seen just a ton of different opinions on this, and to me, that's really interesting to see how different people can take different things away. And I think Starfield is a really specific type of game where, you're either the type of person where it's going to hit with you and you're not going to mind the bugs as much, and you're just going to be like, this is the type of game I want, the kind of chaos of like a irresponsibly large game like Starfield, as Todd Howard put it, or you're going to hop into it. You're going to see that there's no world maps. You're going to see that your encumbrance allows you to carry about 5 items, and you're going to be like, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think there's a lot of different takes on it. I find that inspiring. I've never looked at that and been like, oh, this is a problem, no one can agree. To me, that's the beauty. That's why we're
Yeah.
here. That's why there's so many people writing reviews. If there was only one correct opinion, then you would only need one reviewer and everybody could just listen to them. But that's not how it works. It's a bunch of different people interpreting subjective art, and I think there's room for dissent in that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The problem that I have, and the reason I got a little into it on Bitcast, is because some people are seeing some person's review and assuming that that is them making a political statement, or that they have some sort of conspiracy against the game or whatever. And it's just like, can we just be a little more charitable to your fellow man? Can we just agree that if somebody says their opinion, that they're probably not lying to you, and they probably actually believe the things that they say, and you can disagree with that and move on? But I think the discourse hasn't been as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
To be honest, I kind of expected like a bunch of like 1 out of 10s from PlayStation fanboys and people saying it was the worst game ever.
Oh, the user scores are going crazy though right now.
User scores are crazy. But
zeros.
I haven't looked at those. Oh god.
Bro,
we're saying zeros and we're saying 10 out of 10. I mean, I think that there are a lot of outlets, a lot of outlets that have like Xbox in their title that probably gave the score a higher review than I would have given it, and maybe did it for reasons that had nothing to do with the game. But I don't think that that's what was happening largely. I think most people were just sharing their joy or their quibbles with a game that is very unique and probably going to be divisive depending on who's playing it. So I liked it though. Yeah. I came away with it with an 8. I don't know how much you've played COG or where you're at.
Yeah, I've got about 100 hours in it. It's gotten It started off very slow for me. I will be honest. The first 7 hours, I'm gonna be real. I was like, I don't. Well, here's the thing. I was more worried about the technical aspects coming in with 30 frames. How's that going to move? How's it going to run? How's the combat's going to feel? Those weren't the issues for me. The issues for me initially was like, I'm not really captivated by this story coming out of the mine at first, right?
Oh, that was the other. Sorry to cut you off. That was the other thing on Crossfire that I just like kind of roasted everybody or wanted to just lay into everybody for, because they were like, what about this whole thing about the most powerful console and it's not at 60 frames? No, and then all I said was like, so how's the combat? I'm like, you know what? In all of 80 hours, the combat, whether it was like 40 or 55 or it dropped down to, 30, I'm playing on PC. I don't have the best rig, but I have a solid one. And I can tell you, combat is the least of my worries. It felt pretty good the whole time with everything going on. It's not going to be your Destiny. It's not going to be your Call of Duty or whatever your shooter of choice is. But I was like, that was literally the least of my worries of how that felt. And when I saw the direct, that was one of the things when I thought, I was like, oh, I don't know. And then when I played it, I'm like, that was the last thing I was worried about.
That was literally my experience. So I was actually impressed with how the game ran for me. And then normally with Bethesda games, I'm going to be honest, like I historically play them in FPS first person mode exclusively. I don't usually use third person because I always felt like the combat never felt as good. But this game, surprisingly, it's when I got my first like power boost pack, the one that lets you jump really high like a damn trampoline.
Power boost, yeah.
Then it became a platforming game, and then they got the Destiny mantle system, so I can grab onto something, like a little Warlock, and then get on top of stuff. So now I'm like, I can't play this in FPS. I have to play this in third person now.
Speaking of a Warlock yesterday that broke one of our boss attempts. Anyway.
Oh damn! So
I couldn't clamber up to the edge. I couldn't get there, and literally had to wipe and start over. So
goddamn Warlocks jump. Floof gang always do it, man. So yeah, like once it opened up, then I got to New Atlantis. Then I started to just do my own thing. I wasn't even listening to what Constellation was talking about. I was doing my own thing. And then the magic started to hit for me. Some of these wild emergent quests, some of these crazy situations, a little bit of space pirating. And for me, I kind of went Persuasion. I went Space Scoundrel. And also... I really started to get into kind of like the ship combat a little bit. Yep. And I'm a guy that I didn't think I would enjoy that aspect of the game as much because I'm the guy that comes from the Wing Commanders. I used to be like that guy, like the Star Fox guy. I love that. So when Star Fox, I said, man, they actually doing this well. Then they got the targeting and stuff like that. And it really started to click for me. And then where it really sent it over the edge for me is once, obviously, without spoiling, this is where I got to be honest. Bethesda games historically are not known for their main story quests. I couldn't tell you what happened in Oblivion. I couldn't tell you what happened in Skyrim when I beat it. I can tell you about the Thieves Guild. I can tell you about the Dark Brotherhood. I can tell you about all the factions, right? But the main quest of this is their best main quest I have ever seen from them. And without spoiling, really like synergizes into New Game Plus if you want to play that way. I'm choosing to, take my time a little bit with certain things, but yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I did land at a 9. It's not perfect game. It's flawed. The onboarding is horrible. Horrible. I didn't know how to dock my spaceship in the beginning. I didn't know how like the fast travel system, you got to use the scanner. I was going to my star map every minute. It's clunky. It's like the onboarding, you can have a very bad experience with this game. And I totally understand a 7. I totally understand a 6. If that was your experience, if these things get in the way of your immersion, and I think like Bethesda doesn't do the greatest job with that. But luckily, in my case, obviously we're reviewers. We're all kind of, communicating. Hey, oh, that's how you. Okay, that kind of thing. And the
Yeah.
last thing I'll say is the companions for me. They stole a little bit of Outer Worlds, which I like. Is I like companion interjection. I like when they have something to say. In conjunction to that. So, I thought it was really cool, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see like more people, because it's going to be a polarizing game on some level. So I'm very curious to see as more people play it, where they land on it.
It's funny to have the interjection when your companion's behind a wall down the hall because they didn't make it to the conversation, so a wall is talking to me. I've had that multiple times,
Bro,
but
I feel so bad for you and the glitches you've had.
well, recently, my companion, you can go camo mode with certain things.
Yes.
Just walking around New Atlantis, and her head was camo. Just the head, not the
Yeah.
arm, not the body. Just the head was camo.
I will say,
And it was
Cog,
that
I didn't really
effect.
have
Mhm.
I didn't really have many bugs at all until like much later. It was like
Yeah, you
after,
said that.
more than 100 hours, like
Mhm.
you start to really see it, because up until 50 hours, it was like nothing. I saw like no bugs. And then I saw like 1 or 2 between 50 and 100 hours. I was like, okay, it's starting to show. And then when I got to 200, I was like,
Yikes.
you know, kind of
I
a lot of-
almost need to go New Game
That's
Plus just to
breaking,
like
yeah.
freshen everything up. So like, all right, come
If
on,
that
let's
doesn't work, that would be crazy.
Now
If
that's what
doesn't
that I
get the
need to actually
texture a
test
little
is
bit.
I need to do like kind of New Game Plus, which I will say is like I heard there was a New Game Plus. That's the only thing I will say about the main quest. I thought it was kind of cool, and especially love some of the discussion and like dialogue points you get in that. But I will say as I knew New Game Plus existed, it's a pretty yellow brick road path to New Game Plus.
Mm.
That makes sense? Like
Yes.
being as I know exists, I was like, oh, I think I see where this is kind of going. But I still
Yes.
enjoyed the journey to get there and
Mhm.
listening to everything. At some point, we'll have to like do a little spoiler, or I'll ask you guys afterwards. But yeah, like the beginning is bumpy. I said
Yes.
that in my review. I think I heard that from like half of the reviews. I heard, like Maddie was saying, he was like at first, I
Yeah,
think his piece was
bro.
like, I don't
Maddie
know.
was,
His hit
the
was
two
his-
people who were the worst not feeling it, that had to come from the brink of disaster,
Yeah.
was Jess Corden and Maddie. Their first couple of hours, they were like, what the hell is going on? I'm not feeling it. It's not clicking for me. And I guess some people were trying to play it like a traditional Bethesda game. And then, the procedural, some people were trying to play it like, I'm just going to go to random procedural planets, and, some of the emptiness and that stuff wasn't clicking. So it was tough for some people at first until they got what their gameplay loop is. And I think that's where it's subjective. That's why, last thing I want to say, this is in reference to what Travis was saying, is that in my side, I've seen some really bad discourse. And my thing is this, man. Look, it's one man's opinion. Stop attacking people personally. Like, that's the part that really is bothering me, because I know what's going on. There's a certain group that wanted validation for this. They wanted a coronation in the street. They wanted to get, 90 plus meta, whatever. And I get it. But the thing that's bothering me is that the same people who will attack outlets and all this other stuff are seeking validation from the outlets they claim they hate. And I think that's the part that I struggle with, because it's like, bro, don't let anybody tell you how your food tastes. If you're enjoying it and you're having fun, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's a scale. And to me, sometimes I like E, when we were talking, your opinion really resonates with me, because I know this is your first kind of like Bethesda
this is really
kind of game, right?
Yep.
So like, I'll look at that, I'll look at people like Travis. I'm like, okay, he's hardcore. He knows what a Bethesda game is. So take value from the people that you respect, right? But don't go attacking people just because they have something that disagrees with you. And the funny thing is, Travis, they ain't played the game. They ain't played the game telling somebody how they should. I'm like, come on, we gotta stop. It's a terrible look.
Game and are really upset, and it's also they didn't read the review. There's just a lot of weird stuff going on. I saw one person posted a quote that wasn't from the IGN review, and then said, "Wow, the IGN review is like terrible," and I was like, "That's not our review." Like, there's just weird stuff like that going on. So it's unfortunate. I want to say this. I want to give a shout out to Microsoft. I have a friend that works at Xbox, and he told me, he leaked this to me before the game was out. He was like, hey, our internal reviews just came back in, and they have us at a projected 88 Metacritic. And I said, I don't believe you, because I saw your projected Metacritic rating with the last exclusive,
Redfall,
and I don't believe you at all. And I don't think you're going to get to 88. And then I started playing the game, and the first 10 to 20 hours, I was like, now I really don't believe
Well,
you.
it's
I think this
spooky.
game's gonna be like mid 70s. That was my prediction before the
It was
game came
spooky at
out.
first.
And then the game came out. It is an 88 on Metacritic. Bravo, Microsoft. I don't know what you did with your internal reviews, but you guys crushed it down to the point.
Yeah, it was like
So
it's
good on
86,
you. And
87 on Metacritic for
yeah,
both, and then
Mhm.
88 on Open. So I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
they were not like, was
did
it
it go down? It
double
went down to
digits?
86, 87?
Yeah, it went
Yeah.
down a
Yeah.
smidge. I figured as more would come out,
Okay.
it might trickle a little more, like a
Yeah,
smidge
because
down.
People
Microsoft
get
played a
delayed.
real weird game. They didn't give any codes to all of Europe and a bunch of other weird like
Yeah,
omissions from who got codes.
it was kind of
So I kind of expected that the Metacritic score would go down a little bit, but for the first like week, it was 88 on the
yep,
nose, and I was just like, "Yo,
yeah,
homie, I owe you an apology.
yeah,
Mhm.
You crushed it." So shout out to whoever they're using for internal reviews because they got this
Mhm.
one really right. Use whatever team you used for this one, not the Redfall team. Those guys need help.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it depends. I mean, if I would have gone down, I recently did one of the factions, and I was
Mhm.
less impressed with that one as I
Mm.
was some of the other ones that I had
Which
done.
one?
Yeah, you didn't like Ryujin as much, I heard.
Ryujin wasn't as much for
Oh, I
me.
loved
I
Ryujin.
love Ryujin. That's
I
so
loved
interesting.
it. That was probably I think that one has the worst story, but it's got
Mhm.
the best quests because it's
Mhm.
100% stealth and
Yeah,
social
South.
encounters.
yeah. It's just
Yeah.
Hell
like
yeah, dude.
it was.
Hell
That's
yeah,
I was
sick.
bro.
trying
What?
to, and depending on like some spoilery stuff I was using and things in there, which I don't want to say.
Mhm.
And it was just like very finicky on some of that stuff. So I mean, it's like if you were gonna
Oh,
work
really?
through it, yeah. I mean, I
I loved it.
didn't have the stealth skill. So I mean, if you had to,
Ah.
Oh,
Oh,
oh
wait,
my
when you crouch,
god.
you don't even
How
have where
did
it
you
says
do that?
hidden?
You didn't even have
Oh,
bait?
no.
Oh,
so that was
You gotta do
why.
that
no.
over.
I
That's
was
terrible, dude.
so
Yeah.
You are
that's
not equipped for Ryujin, bro. Get out
Yeah.
of there.
You gotta
so
have
that
No,
stealth and
was
I
persuasion.
think I had max levels in stealth and persuasion, and I was
Stealth and
like, yes,
persuasion.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Shit,
yes.
shit,
That was
I'll
persuasion. I
play
had
stealth. Yeah.
persuasion. I did have,
so
which is
Yeah,
that was
bro.
I
useful
want to
for a
tell
lot of
you,
that stealth. I
this
could
was
see.
Mhm.
my story with Starfield is so funny. When I started playing the game, really quickly for whatever reason, I decided I wanted to have a day job in Starfield. I don't know why. It was
I
like
think I
I was a
remember this
minor.
text or something from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
was a
remember what he
minor,
did.
and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I think it would be funny if instead of doing all this crazy stuff, I just found like a day job where I work like 8-hour days, 9 to 5. I just wanna see if I can do that." So I was trying really hard to get a day job. I finally found a guy who was hiring people
Mhm.
who wanted a job, and I was like, "Alright, great." And he goes, "Hey, look, there's a lot of other people applying for this job. I recommend you break into a computer
Yep.
and delete all their other applications,
The
and then
Yeah.
so I
Australian
can get."
dude. The
Yeah.
So
Australian dude.
I went and I tried to do it. I did not have levels in stealth, and at this point, I was like maybe 2 hours into the game. I had no idea that you needed a level in stealth to sneak at all.
Yeah.
Like you cannot do things unseen without
Yes.
one level in
Right.
stealth. Like
Yep.
it's
Facts.
crazy. So
Crazy. Yep.
I think the game actually locks way too much like the
I agree.
fundamental stuff
I agree.
behind
Yeah.
leveling, which like you can't use the jetpack, etc.
Mhm.
But I got arrested and then I got recruited and put onto the Crimson Fleet storyline. And I said, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to become the world's most famous and evil pirate. And I did all of this crazy adventuring and stuff. I got to like level 70 on my main character. I was just like playing for hours and hours and hours as like the most evil person in the world. And then I land on Neon and I see a job posting for a day job. And it's Ryujin Industries, that quest line. And I finally got a day job. So it
Bro.
was funny how full circle it went. My guy just wanted to be a normal office
Just wanted a
worker,
job.
and he
Yeah.
Hilarious.
couldn't do it. He ended up having to be a pirate.
I
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
job at Neon. It was definitely not of the upstanding variety of jobs.
Oh.
Very Breaking Bad-ish. And you had to punch in, punch out, and you got to wear a certain type of outfit and clothes.
I heard about that. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
in
what
there.
is this?
Oh yeah, talk to the dude. Oh man, what's his name? There's like a guy in Neon who has like these rare items. He has a side business.
Yep.
And yeah. It's
Is
real.
this
It's real.
smuggling?
Bro, no, this is really
What's
making.
Neon based around, and then you can figure it out from there.
Oh, the
Mm.
drugs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
was it Aurora? Yeah, it's
Yep.
a very Aurora friendly quest.
Yeah. I smuggled Aurora for a while, but it just wasn't as profitable as harvested organs. So I
Mhm.
Okay,
just
somebody explain this
I'm
to
a
me.
harvested organs guy.
The
Yeah.
value of anything you pick up is always like a fifth of what it actually is, or a sixth.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's
so,
pretty common.
but
You
like,
need
then what's
levels
the
of
point
common.
in putting the value on there when it shows less later on? That doesn't serve any purpose to be like, just put the value actually what it is. Like, why is there
Yeah.
markdown? Like,
I mean,
I'll give you
I'm not gonna
15. I'll
defend
give
the
you
game's
15%.
UI. I'm not gonna defend the game's UI, but I will say if you get commerce, I think you can get it to about 50%, maybe
It's like a
45%.
20% boost. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. But yeah, I harvested organs, man. That's the way to go.
Yeah, see, I didn't get into that either. You guys are
Oh,
doing
I
some
did.
crazy stuff.
I was delivering harvested organs by the crate.
I will say though, for
Seriously.
Ryujin, like the payoff, like I did UC and I did but both UC, like, you
We
know,
did UC. I thought
Sys-
UC was really good.
I did Systef and then I did the Vanguard.
This is great.
So I did
Mhm.
both of those. The payoffs though, even
Mhm.
financially, I could say were substantial. So I figured this like rich corporation was actually going to have a decent sized payout, and it's like chump change in comparison. I was like,
what
Well,
you get
it's because
though,
they pay you every mission, and they
right,
also give you
to
yeah,
give
they
you
give you a
something.
free talent. They
Mhm,
give
that the
you
talent
yeah, I got that.
office,
I got
you get
that.
that you
mounts,
equip
and
that
you
you
get
Yeah.
could do
stuff.
things in the
Yeah.
scanner that
Yeah,
is
I got
very
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just like, I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
give
It's
you
like,
I thought that was a great storyline. I think all of the
Yeah.
is there a story
I've-
I think I did all the faction quests. Are there only 4?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was hoping that there would be a House for Rune one, but I guess that's not.
Mhm.
I bet that'll be a
Maybe
DLC.
later. DLC.
Like
That'd be
that has
perfect.
DLC written all over it. By the way, it's like I know it was funny because like Maddie said it's like who your companion was. You, me, and him picked the same one.
Oh, I love Edridge. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the best. Don't
She's
hang out with
awful.
Sarah Morgan. She sucks.
Oh, she's awful. Oh
She
my
was out of my
God.
party. She was only in my party for like the required 1 minute or
Brad,
something, and then out. And
I
out.
had the
She left
nerve.
my party
Yes.
angrily. She
Angrily.
left.
She was done with me. I had the nerve to take her through the Ryujin quest storyline.
Oh,
She was like, I
she
don't
wouldn't
know.
have that.
She said, "This is
Oh, man.
unethical." She was like,
Here's
"How
the- here's-
could you?"
Here's the thing, Cog. I didn't bring her anywhere. As soon as I met her, I was like, "All right, you're about to call the cops to break up my barbecue, so I'm done with you. See ya, Karen." And
Yeah.
I left her behind, but she still comes up to you and complains, even if you don't bring her. She's
Yes.
omnipresent. She just like shows up and like, or I have a snitch in my party. Maybe I don't know, not really sure.
But
But she finds out and she comes up to you and gets mad. And so she found out about a couple things I did, which, maybe morally gray. I don't know. And she got all upset about it and dipped. So I was like, all right,
what
don't
got
let
me
the
mad?
door hit you.
Yeah, what got me mad about her is in the beginning, she tries to pay herself off like, we're not perfect, and we can
We let everybody manage their own lives. Liar.
liar. Exactly. That's a piss me
Liar.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys
She's
do the
judgmental
loyalty
as hell.
quest all the way? Have you done the
I
loyalty
did.
quest with
I've
I
not
did
finished
her
that.
loyalty quest. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Andreas was good.
Nice.
That was actually
I
that's why I
haven't
was
done
like
upgrades.
that's
I
the one
didn't
I
even-
could
I
see
didn't even
setting up
meet-
for DLC. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't
Yeah,
meet
but-
anybody except for Vasco and Sarah Morgan until I was over 200 hours in the game because I didn't do a single main quest storyline until I
that's
was
dope.
basically done with everything. So I just started the main storyline. I got like maybe 30-40% through it, and then my time was done. The game came out, and I had to move on to Lies of
Yeah,
P.
got
So
it, yeah.
it's a cool game, though. Really
Yeah.
cool. I really do want to play more of it. I'm definitely going to beat the main story and probably do New Game Plus. Like
Yeah.
I could see myself playing that game for a lot longer than I did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
Also, I am the foremost master at building starships. So if you need to know anything about starships, I spent maybe 20-30 hours in just the Starship Builder. I know everything about that
Oh,
system.
that's fine.
I've built
definitely gonna pick your brain.
my ship right now is worth 3.2 million credits.
Jesus.
It's the most
Jesus.
insane ship ever. It has 12,000 cargo
Mm.
mass
nice.
you can store.
Class.
Yeah, it's
I was
ridiculous,
like, yeah, I
dude.
was like, I can kind of picture the engine requirements, the reactor you're using, because I've been messing with it a lot recently too, trying to, because I have like
Yeah.
all the parts, all the piloting and shipbuilding, the skills, like to be able to access
Design.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
I am a little annoyed that like I can't, like I have to have a skill to have more crew members on a ship that can hold 5.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
have
like,
to
come on,
have-
game.
the skills are
You-
very limiting, and like, because some of
Yeah.
them are deep down in trees. It takes 4 levels to get through them. Like, they're a time investment. If you go hard on shipbuilding, for example, like Travis did, and if you want to go outposts or you want a big crew, like even the
Yes.
crew is separate from the ship, and that's far down in that tree.
Yes,
So no,
I
I'm
agree.
with you
Yep.
there.
Yeah, if you want to fully upgrade everything on the starship, you have to get like 60 skill points. I think I counted
Yeah.
it. It's a lot because it's
Right.
8 just to unlock all the ship parts.
Yep.
And then you have to, and that's you have to get down to that. And then if you want payload, which I recommend you get,
Yep.
that way you can store more on your ship. And
Mhm.
dude, it's like that game. If you just table stakes, you have to spend like your first 30 points for you. Like the
Yes.
game already tells you how to spend your first 30 points because if you don't grab those basics, like
Oh,
what are you
Oh,
doing? Like you need
forget
3
it.
levels in security, you need at least 1 level in
Mhm.
stealth, you need
Yep.
1
Mhm.
level in jetpack. Like all
Yep.
those things are like
Weightlifting, you may
required
as well
before.
max it out. Like,
Yep.
Oh yeah, you have to max out
Oh,
weightlifting unless you want to
encumbrance.
be, running around like you're camping
Yeah, my
everywhere.
campaigns was complaining like, "Sir, we noticed you're picking up everything. You could
Yeah.
utilize me." And I'm like, "Damn,
oh,
Vasco,
you're
they
full
got
too.
called
Don't
me."
worry, you're maxed out.
Yeah.
Vasco's full, ship's
Yeah.
full.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and again, if you get into
Dan,
unless you have a ship like you do, if you get
Mhm.
into outposts, like you're gonna have like hundreds of pounds of stuff sitting out there that you might harvest, and then you gotta like, how are you gonna do that? So it's like that's a whole
Mhm.
thing.
Dan
Oh,
posted
yeah.
a photo of his workaround to the encumbered system, which was he would get on a ship and drop everything onto the ship floor because it doesn't count as cargo space if it's just a loose item. And
Yeah.
so his ship is just piles of trash
Is that
everywhere. Like he's
like
just
the potato thing I saw
Potato type
recently?
energy,
no,
yes.
the potato thing was somebody said like spawn 600 potatoes using a console command. This
Oh,
was he literally was dropping all of his stuff on the ground because the game
Messiest
would
ship in the
keep it
galaxy.
there. Yeah, he was the messy. He literally just became like a gross hoarder. It was kind of
see,
amazing.
that's the type of stuff
Yeah.
where I think if they had like some quality of life, like more oxygen when you start, more capacity for inventory basically everywhere, just a couple quality of life things would help a decent amount.
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
sure
They
they'll
want
get
you to
there.
they want you to spec into it, and it's like,
yeah.
because I think when I went alien DNA, I had more oxygen
I
and
did
stuff.
that too, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I had that for a start. I was like, oh, that seems helpful. And like, then I figured out you can have that stuff removed later on. But even like ship targeting, you don't even know if that's like a thing. So then you can target them, immobilize their engines, and then board, and you're like, I just can blow
Yeah.
them up. Like you can suppress randomly, but you don't even have
Yeah.
ship targeting if you don't spec into it. And if you don't get
Facts.
piloting early and you're running around actually fighting ships, they don't count. There's no retroactive ships you got to
No
destroy. So then you
retroactive.
got to go back and
Yeah.
do that. There are
Yep.
just some things that like seem like cheeses that I feel like would be better if they just kind of put them into the natural part of the game. Like some people like, hey, leveling up right now, go to a crazy planet and you can kill high level beasts or something like weird
Mhm.
stuff where if you were just doing normal things, if they gave you more experience for it, since you need like 300 skill points anyway, I don't think it would hurt anything if you got a little more experience here and there too. Just those types of things.
I
But
get it. I think historically though, with Bethesda games, I think the reason why they did it that way is because you tend to be OP early that first run, and I think that this is their way of trying to like level up by making you commit to certain things. But I hear what you said. It is
yeah,
it's like damn, it's like
it's a balance.
the
Yeah, it probably
restrictor is
doesn't
like,
have to be like
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the way OP in your first round through, but like
Mhm.
I don't need 500 hours just to
For
be like,
for
okay,
me,
finally.
it's more about the role playing aspect, Cog. Like you can't really role play and build into a class that feels like it's yours if you have to spend the first like 30 points on stuff that's just table stakes.
I feel
I
that.
feel like they could have just helped a little bit. They should make it you should be able to sneak, but it
Mhm.
shouldn't be impossible to sneak. Like I think a good example is the security skill. You can lockpick novice stuff automatically.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
they give you that, but
Yes, good
then
point.
like with stealth, they don't let you stealth at all until you
At
like
all.
literally you can't no stealth mechanic unless you buy a level in that. Same with the jetpack, right? Some other
Yeah, you
stuff it's kind
can't
of
do
annoying.
I'm like, who
Combat
would not play
combat
this at the
slide
jetpack?
not having combat slide just sucks, and you have to
Mhm.
unlock it with a skill point. Stuff
Yeah.
like that that you have to
Yeah.
get. I just think they
Good
put
point.
too much behind
That's a good point.
And
That's a good point.
that's literally, I mean, it's like Alex said it in chat. It's like the first 20, you're like, I don't know, it's rough, kind of missing all these things. There's a lot it doesn't tell you. When you do get far enough in to start unlocking all this stuff and get into it, that's when, yeah, 80 hours. That's
and
why I
no
ended on an
respec.
8. Yeah,
Yeah.
no
No
respec. Now it's like
Yeah.
I even said in one of my videos,
Because there's
it's
no
like,
max level.
well, also it's like if you went all the way into shipbuilding, built a cool like Class C ship, and then a respec, you couldn't even pilot the ship you just built. Well, I understand some, and then you'd have to like level it back up and do all that stuff. So I understand why the specking is there. It's just like, but yeah, it's like it's got some issues. No, yeah.
Yeah, good point. I
But
can understand.
Yeah.
overall, I think we
Hope
all had a
had
pretty
5
good time.
levels in combat right at the beginning, and I was like, "Oh no!" I can't imagine that. That's such a big mistake. If you buy any levels in the combat tree as
Yeah,
your
I didn't.
first like 30 levels, you are screwing up
Yeah,
big
I
time.
was mad that one of my traits. I was like, all right, but I like persuasion, like the other. I was like, I'm never gonna use this pistol skill. I'm like, I'm never gonna use it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all good.
Well, that was our first hour on Starfield. So
This is
that
other game we
one's
cover. What's going on? You
Destiny.
gotta educate me. What's going on in this other game that I haven't played in a
Yeah.
while?
So to no one's surprise, since the leaks seem to have been a thing, Crota came out
Woo.
as the raid, and everybody's like, "Oh, how's Crota gonna be?" And then everybody jumped into Crota and realized Crota's not going to be a pushover this time. So the finish time was, for one, the top 1 and 2 teams were within like under 2 minutes for finishing. So I know that was like the tightest race I think they've ever had. And then the difficulty gave a lot of people trouble. Some people going back the next day. It is a reprised raid, so they had to beat normal and then beat challenge mode. But even normal mode for a lot of people was one of those things you saw, hey, we got close, we didn't, got to get back to it the next day. The difficulty was there, but I heard when it started to come together kind of the way I heard it was balanced to be tough but doable, which a lot of people still seem, I think, they were like, hey, the challenge is back, felt good, kind of had to be on it. It was a bit more mechanics the entire time, which is probably how they wanted to combat some of the cheeses that were in the thrallway in the beginning and then the bridge encounter and then Ear-Ute. There's a mechanic where you're kind of trading something the whole time. It's the Chalice of Light is in there instead of just with Crota. It's in there the entire raid. So you're trading it back and forth. You got more teamwork and communication on who it's involved with. Just even the thrallway too. You never could have told me that the swinging spiky chandeliers would have been an issue. Oh man, they are. You will definitely,
Really?
yeah, just in the dark thrallway with the lamps and stuff, because you're trading the buff, and you basically have to build the buff up on yourself, and somebody has 10 seconds to take it from you. When that happens, you become enlightened. And then at that point, you can do usually something with that buff, whether it's help build the bridge or activate a lamp or, work on a boss fight type thing. All of those are usually what you would do with it. But also while you're running through the thrallway, you're like, oh, dodge the hole in the ground. So you're looking down and not seeing the chandelier swinging coming at you like right in the face. So there were plenty of times I'd see people and it would almost kill you. But if you'd been like, scraped by a thrall, it probably would kill you. I didn't fall down the holes nearly as much. I don't know if they were just kind of lucky or I was, getting 1 or 2 tips here and there. But the spikes hit me enough times that I was like, all right, those are kind of a factor. So yeah, the thrallway alone just to get started is more than some people expected. So the raid
Is the secret chest still there?
Yep.
Where it was?
Nice.
Well, wait, in the thrall?
Yeah.
No, that one's
Remember
not
the
there.
secret chest behind one of the doors? Oh, that one's gone.
That one I don't think
That's where I got my second Gallarhorn. Good memory.
Nice. The secret chest on the before Ear-Ute is still there, running down that little mini hallway after the bridge. You got to run to the end fast enough the doors don't close. That one's still there. Oh, the Abyss chest does exist. Oh, maybe it does.
So, question: the old school cheat the hunters used to do to go across the bridge, all that's a wrap. Any cheats to go
The
across?
only one I've seen, there's a secret chest in the Abyss. Okay, there is. We didn't do it yesterday, so I haven't seen everything then. So,
Okay.
The only thing I've seen is a Tangle thrown really high and then grapple to the Tangle to get over. That's the only thing I've seen.
Strand. Good old Strand.
But even like Thunder Crash or anything else, not getting across.
Really?
So,
Thunder
yeah,
Crash
no.
didn't get across.
Well, Thunder Crash kind of got nerfed anyway, multiple times now. So
yeah.
But no, the only one I saw was a video of that, and they probably just have to move the wall up a little bit, and that's done. So they'll pretty much close that one off. So yeah, the thrallway is definitely more engaging. You're always talking with the team. You activate the lamp with enlightenment, so you don't get there and it just turns on. You have to get charged up. Then you gotta have somebody take the buff. Then you activate the lamp, which then turns on a couple lamps up ahead, so you can actually do that again. You're sitting there kind of, and you can't get the enlightenment. You can't hold the chalice again for like a minute. So it's got to be in this rotation. So it's definitely more active in that aspect. There's no like one person running all the way to the end and skipping it all.
Yep.
I don't think anybody's doing that right now. If they are, I haven't heard it. Um, and then the bridge is definitely more complicated because the
What
only
they do
way
with
to
the bridge?
the only way to get across is either being uh being, I want to say it's enlightened,
Mhm.
or with the sword. So you get a sword and you can run across, or the other way you take it across. So it's like two would go across, they'd help with the sword breaker, and then one person would come back and then enlighten more people, and then more people would get swords, and then they're coming back. It's kind of a little back and forth, either holding the chalice or having a sword. Yeah. So it was
Okay.
kind of that combination of like one person running over and then coming back, trading off, and then it's still, you got the annihilator totems. Two people have to hold those down, or three do,
Yep.
and then once that's done, you move to the other side. But there's a little more coordination because I just held down my plate last night the whole time, and they were kind of doing the early management. But then it got to the point where I'm the last person on my side, and I got to hold it all down on my own.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, literally yesterday, they nerfed the Pyrogale gauntlets. They nerfed my Burning Maul gauntlets, the new one. Make the big
Okay.
3 tornadoes. That's like my kind of big power super I've got right now.
Yeah.
They basically turned those off for a little while because they were
And
breaking the game.
they nerfed Banner of War for you guys too, right?
I think,
Or they disabled it for the because that Banner of War with Shred is powerful. As
yeah,
hell.
that's powerful.
That'd be a good one. Yeah.
Yep.
I actually love that for you. I think that's a very cool Titan ability.
Yeah, it's cool, but
Mhm.
yeah, they got it to us, and then no.
Mm. Banner doesn't stack. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was changed today in a patch or something like that.
Got it. Oh wow, they came for it. Yep.
Yep.
Recent patch. Okay.
They always do. They come
Yeah, they
for
always-
us real quick.
They take a little while, but I'm surprised they came this quick. Yeah, that's crazy.
No, Pyrogale was breaking Iron Banner. Oh, see, I didn't know.
Let me ask you this, because we used to talk about this raid a lot, and this is your baby from back in the day. So one of your favorite things was always like, yo, he used to say, Trav, he'd be like, the reason why I love it because it's the hero moments. You could, one person. Do you feel they've changed it so much that you can't have a hero moment, or it's still possible, just different?
It's so team-based now that it's not so much around that. Even Crota in the end is like, now you're using the sword to break the shield, but your damage is coming from other stuff. It's not the other way around. You're not shooting him to kneel him and then the sword doing the damage. The
Right.
sword breaks the shield, which it was like 3 different people rotating to, because you have to be enlightened to hold a shield. So everybody would be trading the buff. You see a sword breaker, okay, you chip some of his health off. Then you rotate again, you get another one. Somebody chips more of his health off. And the third person, depending on if it's like 2 or 3 swords, then you were able to be everybody ready. Okay, you chip the health, and then everybody goes in for damage.
Okay.
So it's like
Okay.
everything is around this enlightened buff and trading and communicating. Everybody's there for damage. It is very, very team oriented. There's like next to no hero moments, I would say, at this point.
How do we feel about this? That was one of your big things that you used to love.
Oh, I just enjoyed the raid because I thought it fit thematically. That was kind of the thing. The mechanic is shoved in a lot of places, I will say, so it does make team coordination more required, but it almost feels a bit much in a couple places. So I mean, that's why the difficulty was there, is figuring out where the chalice goes, who can run, who can't, and all those things. So that's where the difficulty came in, because it was everywhere, and everybody had to be together, and everybody had to trade it off, and then you had to do this, and then when you're going along the abyss area, when you get to Lantern, sometimes there's this place for you to like set the chalice down, basically, if you've got it, but it's kind of random. Sometimes it's at Lantern, sometimes it's not. It's just like on your run where it's going to be, so you just kind of have to look for it. And that was in a couple of different places. Like, they kind of dragged me through it yesterday. Like, I wasn't leading the show by any stretch, but it definitely feels like everybody's going to be involved.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're going to have a decent role. There's not really like, hey, the 5 of you stand on the window and I'm going to go take care of this thing.
Window.
That's not happening anymore.
That's over with?
Yep, definitely over
man.
with.
Okay.
It also just goes to show, I really like, Well of Radiance is just the thing. Because you put a well at his feet, and then you work on smacking Crota around. Then you put a well, and everybody stands in it to do Ear-Ute. There is just nothing like it. There's not. So it's like, the more you do this one, I was like, okay, so what are we going to do? When you get across the bridge, and everybody's there, and the last thing you have to do is take out 5 gatekeepers that spawn all together at the same time. Most people pick up a sword, and the last person plops down a well, and you just sit there and smash them all. So it's like, they are... So much of this game is like, take a well, and it still is that way. Now I know they said they might be doing something about that for Final Shape, but that's kind of that's the worry of taking something like that down without bringing the other options up.
Mhm.
And I really hope they can do both. Like if they're really tired of well being the one thing that is in every raid all the time that everybody feels like they need to have, then the other things need to be compensated otherwise. And that's the worry I have that they may not do.
Mm.
Because the power of what the well can do to just all damage all the time for everybody. And if you take that away when you built so many things around this being a possible thing,
Right.
then I'll just be kind of curious how it goes. So that's a worry I have for Final Shape. If they nerf it, are the other ones strong enough? Is it enough of a buff?
Bubble buff.
Bubble
Bubble buff
buff?
needs to happen.
Yeah, I
Fact.
mean, Bubble would be nice to have as even
We
just an
were
alternative.
the original Warlock. I mean, that's why I
Absolutely.
played at Titan, because they're all
Hell yeah.
defenders.
Yeah.
It makes way more sense in lore for a Titan to stand their ground and be like the helper. And instead, now that's the Warlock, which makes less sense and makes me jealous, frankly. That well.
I agree though.
So
I remember,
it's
Vogue. Yeah, it was like, bro, weapons.
That's why I wanted to
Jump
be a
it.
Titan. Is the
Yeah.
ultimate support class.
I'll be like, where's the Titan? There, put that thing down. We need that weapons of light, bro.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
the
yeah.
fantasy of a Titan, like their whole thing is controlling the battlefield. That's why they have walls that they can put up and they can put a bubble shield and all that. And I feel like over time that's been regressed into just we melee things, which was never
Yeah.
the fantasy of Titans back in the day. I mean, that was
Good point.
part of it for like the forehead Titan players, which there are some of those.
Smooth brain.
But yeah, but like yeah, the fantasy of like standing your ground and controlling the battlefield and being tactical is what drew me, and I feel like that's been replaced by the Warlock, which is now the easy choice. If you want to control the battlefield, put down a bubble. Makes way more sense.
Put down a well.
Put down that
Or
well.
sorry, yeah, put down a well.
Don't do the factions, bro.
But I mean, I will say the changes they made for contest, a lot of people from what I saw liked it.
Okay.
Thought the difficulty was a good change. Thought it was bringing back like, the challenge, the coordination, skill level was right. It was not a pushover like Ron for the hours it took. I mean, it was 6 or 7 hours or something for Salto Grappo on the first. And then he got his fourth, which is nuts. I mean, he got it by about 90 seconds, but he actually got his fourth, which is still a little crazy.
Mhm.
That old team won again.
Yep.
Elysium won
Yeah,
again?
Elysium won again.
Jeez.
And that's the thing. It was like they were like 93 seconds off of not getting it, but they technically were the ones who pulled it
Who
out,
was
which
the
is
second team?
I
The second.
I don't know who the second team was.
Oh, I love underdogs.
Me too.
But I mean, I know there were people working on it the next day, over the weekend. It was not, I mean, the number of teams that beat it, some like Raid Report had their stats, it was much lower, like the hardest, I think the lowest number of clears in the past like 4 years for
Really?
some of these things. So it was definitely low, like very low on clears,
Ooh.
high challenge. But for the people who jumped into it, thought it was about where a contest raid should be.
Okay.
One thing I do see
Mhm.
is the request for contests to stick around as an option more often. And I guess I wanted to
Is it
ask you
sticking around this
guys.
time?
Nope, it's gone. Like there's no mention of it coming back. I wanted to see you guys why you think it's not there. I'm curious. What do you guys think?
I don't know. It seems like it would be easy to include as like a master. Maybe because it competes with the master version that they
But
come out
most
with
people end
later.
up liking contests better.
I do.
Well, it's like it's not full of champions and other stuff, and it's
Yeah.
just The other thing I will say they did, the Necrochasm is the exotic, and if you beat contest this weekend, you got the exotic. You don't have to go through the quest. You don't have to farm for
Nice.
oversouls.
You know how many day one raids I've done?
Oh, I know,
Contest mode raids
and
I've
that's the
cleared,
one.
and they
Yeah,
never
this
gave
is
me
what
the exotic. The
Facts.
one time I'm
Well, I
busy
don't do it.
reviewing games and doing
Same.
Starfield, they
They
God
do
damn
it.
them.
Yep.
The one time.
One time. Say, I'm like, really? Everybody
Sucks.
told me, yeah, it's guaranteed. I'm like,
So
Yeah,
one of the
I should've
first I've
Zinthos
ever
in
met.
chat,
I didn't have
Zinthos in
time.
chat said people would want loot worth the runs of contest, and I'm like, well, master isn't really worth it anyway, so may as well put contest in there. And at this point, they made Necrochasm part of contest. So if you're like, hey, I do it
You
normal,
should
I
do.
understand the mechanics. Now, if
Yeah.
you wanted to go turn on contest and you can beat it, you can just get it.
Yeah.
Because
Gotcha.
now the problem
You should be
is,
able to play your way to a reward as a substitute for relying on RNG.
well,
Yes.
the problem,
Guardians make their own fate, guys.
Facts.
yeah, the
Facts.
problem is now you still have to farm oversouls. Oversouls are random
the
drops from
catalyst.
encounters or the catalyst or the weapon, depending on which one you got. So if you got the weapon, you still need the catalyst. Now you can get some oversouls from triumphs, but you cannot get enough. Like if you didn't beat it on contest and you do some of the triumphs, you will not be all the way there. You're gonna get probably 1 to 2 per run, but now you're on a point where you got to clear the raid to get the catalyst. If you didn't do contest, probably like 15, 20 times.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like 2 per raid, and you need like 35, I think, for the catalyst total. I heard. So now you know you're going to be running the raid a lot. So it's back to a point where there is kind of a limit on it if you get an average.
How
but
many times?
15,
About?
20, I don't know, ballpark in there.
Much for a catalyst, bro.
Yeah, it's
That's
a lot.
a lot.
And the catalyst is outlaw on Necrochasm.
Oh,
Like, so it's not
good.
majorly worth it, in my opinion.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does cool stuff because it is like explosions. It's a necro weapon, so it can tie into the Warlock exotic that Thorn can. It can actually pair with that. I think Astrocross did a video. Necrotic grips, I think. Is
Necrotic grip. So
yeah, so you can, but you've got, it's got like Firefly on the auto rifle and those kind of things. So it's got a couple, it's cool, but it's like to have Outlaw on there doesn't really seem necessarily worth the grind. It's kind of one of those, if you farm or Sherpa enough, you'll probably get it if you didn't already kind of thing. But
is it what is it? Is it a 600 or 900? What is it?
720. It
Oh,
looks
it's
fast,
720.
but it's a 720.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, I'm good. I'll just get the gun.
Yeah, I was like, if I can get the gun, I'll be happy. So, and that'll still probably take a while because I just got finished it last night, so I got the husk. I have the white weapon right now, so I got to go through that chain and work on the Eidolon Ally and then get up to that one.
Wait,
but yeah,
Alternator said 720 with exotic trait. It goes to 900.
Okay, it may speed up then a little bit because I wasn't sure. Again, I barely have the thing. It does look like it can fire fast. I don't know if it fires faster if you get a kill. The kill looks like it gives it like the dragonfly effect, but maybe because that was some people were saying it's like you can get outlaw, but it's like you don't even feel like you really need it depending. So that's what I was like, I haven't looked up the specs of what the weapon actually does.
Got it.
Since it's been out.
Good. And regular weapons, how we feeling? Like
some people Crota. I mean,
no black spindle.
No black spindle.
No black spindle. Okay. No black hammer.
Same thing. No.
That's just what I gotta ask.
No, but I mean, you got. I don't think anything game breaking per se. I feel like Last Wish, just like when they redid those weapons, those are all just like mostly all awesome now. I think some of them are cool in here, but I don't know if there's anything quite as good. Oversoul with Volt and Curse Thrall. Okay. See, there's some good stuff about it.
Cool.
Like Fang of Your Ute and Oversoul Edict. Yeah, I think that's the pulse that I don't have. I got one that was probably decent, but I mean, I think we're kind of at a point to where, yeah, you can get another decent weapon, but do I really need another one versus other stuff that I have at this point?
Already.
Yeah, I mean, I was using a strand auto rifle and it seemed to have gone fine. I was making hatchlings and throwing my hammer, and between that and everything else, I was killing all the stuff I needed to. I wasn't doing it on contest, but yeah, it was kind of one of those.
You brought Rufus in there.
No, that's kind of one of those, like, I think I can craft it, but I never got around to crafting and leveling it up. So that's just one of those I need to. No, it's like a different strand auto. I think it sounds like Scathelocke, but it's not that. Oh, 1 second. I had it yet. I'm sure it's in dim. You guys even touch the story this week?
Behind, bro. I gotta catch up.
I did last week, and last week was really cool sword logic stuff, and I realized I didn't play anything. Did you guys notice that? It didn't make you play anything last week. Like you logged on and you just did like a radio message, and then you went and you talked to Eris, and then you went back to another radio message, but it never actually made me do tithes yet last week. Like I didn't have to play the game, and I was like, oh, that's it? All right, I'm chilling, and I just logged off. That was yesterday.
Yeah, I gotta catch up. I'm a week behind. Yeah, I get it done tomorrow.
Yeah, the story's kind of. I'm curious what the story does more than anything. I don't know what's going to happen to Xivu. I don't. I really don't. I mean, it does feel like we're gonna do some interaction with her. As I said, I hoped we didn't kill her, but everything seems to be pointing that direction. But I haven't dove into the lore, but it feels like there's going to be
strike.
Yeah, if we have a killing Zal at the end of a strike thing, then
What was the other one? Was it the Undying Mind? Did we do that one of the strike too? One of the mines we it was like one of the notorious Vex mines, and we did that one in like almost like a strike like
What, like
quest.
Curse of Osiris kind of thing?
It was chat, y'all know it's one of those like notorious lore hive minds that's been, I mean, excuse me, Vex minds that's been prominent in the story. And then I think it was during the Splicer season of the Splicer, we ended up beating and defeating this lore thing in like seasonal activities. Undying Mind, I think, yeah, I think Austin
Undying
is
Mind is a strike. Yeah, you said that one.
yeah. Quaria, yes, Quaria. There we go.
Oh,
Thank you,
yeah,
Austin
that
Davis.
wasn't even, that was a strike. That was like a final season
Yeah.
finale mission, Quaria. Yeah, I do remember that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, might be getting that Zivu in this.
It's definitely possible. 100% possible. So it's just kind of one of those, I've kind of accepted my fate. It's just going to happen.
Hiya. You've been beaten.
I hope not. I am enjoying the dialogue though between Savathun, having her pieces chimed in. Imaro's still a punk. I love the opening when we grabbed him though and basically threatened to squeeze the life out of
Yeah.
him. The opening was
bro.
cool. I really enjoyed that moment. But yeah, Imaro's still a punk. The voice actors fit in that one
I
really well.
love that voice actor. Yeah,
But
I love
anytime I get to hear Savathun, I'm like, there's Miss Wilson.
Oh,
She kills it. But yeah, what I really want, however it happens, I want Savathun and Zivu to like just talk in front of us. That I
yes,
want to
please.
see. I think that's
I
my
100%
biggest
agree.
thing. Like if we have to fight her, maybe we knock her down and then we res Zivu and there's a discussion somehow. I just want to see them talk. Whether it goes to absolute all hell and then you got to fight it out anyway. And like, you know, Zivu is like, I'm 100% the witness. I'm not like whatever's going to happen. I just want to see them talk because both voice actors have been killing it, especially when Zivu's not like pissed off and yelling.
Yeah.
Because she has the tone right for the yells, but when it's like you get some of the other stuff, like in the dungeon,
Yes.
there's
so good. So good.
that's the stuff that I want to see is
I agree.
but
I
yeah,
would love that.
there was a bit of a mission. There's one mission that we kind of run this week, but it ends up kind of just it's all between altars and stuff like that. Like we had an attunement card that we got last week. So you get like a solar attunement, but I'm still solar attuned, so I picked up the other card, but I can't work with the card yet. I still can't attune to any of the other ones. So it's like they have this deck of cards that's like you're gonna run through the activities and you're gonna get a random card. But you're still time gated on the cards, even though they're totally random in what you do. So it's they still have the time gating. Yeah, the old Sterling, that's the one I was running. Thank you.
Yeah, nice.
That's the weapon. I mean, I got rewind rounds and hatchling on it.
Nice.
So I mean, I'm just sitting there peppering thrall and stuff, making hatchlings all over the place and chunking my hammer if anything gets close. So I had fire on me and then hatchlings running around. So I was totally fine defending my side. But yeah, that's what I would love to see in the story because these are two like sisters. I want to see the sister talk.
Absolutely.
Like that's the part that I'm looking forward to. And hopefully we get that because those two voice actors going back and forth, that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. Those two are excellent. Yeah, we need that, especially after the dungeon with Zivu, you know, learning about her relationship with Oryx, the depth there. Obviously, the way she views Savathun is very rough. And I'm very curious to see, because, you know, what she's, you know, Deborah was so cunning, so smooth, to see how she handles her. You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, Zivu's about that. She's about that smoke. She's about that war. So I would love, because the only thing that's disappointing me is Bungie saying that Final Shape, Savathun's role is going to be less than we think, and that kind of makes me sad. So like I'm like, damn. So
I think she's EU now.
Yeah,
I think in as far as main players are concerned, she died in that campaign, and now she's going to be an EU character, like Darth Maul in Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the coolest.
He's dead. He's dead in Phantom Menace, according to casual fans, but hardcore fans know he's been alive and well with spider legs for some reason.
It just saddens me. It's like Travis, like, man, she's so good. And it's just like, I get it. We got to get to the witness. I get it. But it's just like, this is Deborah Wilson, bro. You built this up. And then we knew it was going to be to that point where she's going to come back. We're going to need her. But I'm like, I hope this ain't a money situation. Because I know she's, you know, she's prominent. I know she's prominent. So it's just like, man, we can't get a little bit more of it. Like, I don't know. Because I like her to be real. I like her better than the witness. To be honest, like way 1,000. Yeah, like way better. Like if she somehow was able to.
When you think of the witness now, you think of Lightfall. When you think of
Yes.
Savathun, you think of Witch Queen. That's why you like Savathun better, because she's
was-
just associated with a way better expansion.
The less
Yeah.
I saw of him and the mystery of him is what allured me to. But then I see too much of him. Now I'm just like, bruh, no.
Whatever,
You know?
man.
Yeah, that's the Ooga Booga part that we're gonna have to see how they handle, because and then we got the whole in the traveler thing that, we got to see how that's handled. There's a lot of questions. I mean, I think they'll do okay, but and then also we got to figure out that Nathan Fillion's role also plays into this. So maybe that's part of the budget too. Nathan need a nice little check now, Trav.
I know.
He ain't cheap.
Yeah.
He ain't
I don't know
cheap.
if the rookie is paying the bills. Is that what he's still is he in the rookie? I don't know if that's still a show. I think
So
they're
it's
doing more seasons of that show. I don't know how. Pretty
no.
bad.
Here's my question: do you think prediction post final shape? Are we getting Nathan for this final run, or are we getting Nathan for the run post final shape?
I think we're getting Nathan for the run. I think I'd seen somewhere or heard somewhere that he was signed for a multi-year contract. Like he's signed for more than just this. And then we know that our boy who's replacing Zavala
Yes,
is
Keith David.
Keith David. Keith David is also multi-year contract, I'm pretty sure. So I think all those people will be in it. But I don't know how much.
I got
It's
a
gonna
question
feel
for you.
very weird to have him
It's
back.
going to be weird. The question I have for you also is, what about who seems to be completely erased from the story lately? What about Crow? What are we doing with him? Like, what is
I'm
that?
sure he will have some sort of role in the next expansion, since he's got to talk to the guy he murdered. But Crow is EU. A lot of people forget about that. He's like the most EU character ever.
Yes.
He's Ahsoka. You know what I mean? Like that's his like he's for sure that. So I think they could just do him dirty and have Crow talk about Cade when the season begins after this expansion. They talked about how the first season's going to be happening canonically after the end of Final Shape. And so my guess, and then they said it's going to be a reaction to the events of Final Shape. So I could definitely see a situation where they don't even let Crow address the fact that Cade is back until.
So wait, you don't think we ever get those two on screen, face to face, little stare down
in the Final Shape? I think it might be season 1 after Final Shape, because that would be the first time, I believe, that Crow has been involved in the events of any major,
he's
non-EU
been on the
campaign.
super bench.
Yeah, but even before that, he was only in seasons. He was never a featured character in.
You're right.
Like if you ask somebody who just plays yearly expansions, they would have no idea who Crow is. Guaranteed. Yeah.
Good point.
So I think he might have his face to face with Cade 6 in season 1 after Final Shape. Just to make him even more of an EU character. They'll do him dirty.
You guys jump into the showcase discussion?
No, we were just kind of talking about characters.
We're just talking about characters.
Characters and stuff, spitballing who'll be around, the whole Savathun situation that we know for a fact that she's not going to have a big role. And then we'll talk about, obviously, the Crow and Cade potential meeting, if that's going to happen and when.
That would be interesting at some point. That does kind of take me to the last thing I want to talk about, at least especially because you're back. We haven't got a chance to talk about the showcase with you, because Travis and I went pretty hard on episodes and stuff before, and we ended up like beating that one kind of, but we never got your opinion, and I was kind of curious because that's like a bit of a shift for Final Shape's going to come out, and they said the episodes aren't going to start till 2 weeks after, and then you have the new 18-week model for episodes, but then it's like a 6-week cadence drop. Seems like you get whatever you're going to get for the 6 week. It's not so much time gated in there. I just kind of wanted to get your take on how that might play out, where you think the stories might go, if it's a good idea. And then when also, because Travis and I went in on this one, he had a pretty good one. I'm curious your take. Where do you think the next expansion will fall? Like how many episodes away until we get the next expansion?
Yeah, this episode thing is, I don't know how to judge it yet, because it's clear they want to shift away from the traditional seasonal model. but like I don't know because the key is going to be this. It's less than an expansion, but more of a casual, do it at your own pace kind of vibe. There's going to be some connectivity between each. It's clearly a departure from what they're doing. I don't want to sit there and say that this is a positive thing yet until I see the first level of execution. I don't
Do you want to hear
know.
my fan theory?
Yeah, what's your fan theory?
So I mentioned this on the show where we talked about it, but I actually think the episodes thing is huge in a good way.
Okay.
The reason for that is their messaging is very specific. They've not mentioned how many episodes it's going to be before the next expansion, and they're selling episodes as slightly bulkier stuff that happens. And so my theory, Cog, is that this entire episode model is an attempt to slow down somewhat the constant pipe of content, which I think is smart because a lot of that content comes out a little half-baked. And two, to officially remove the expectation of a main expansion every year. I think they're going, and I think that's why they haven't announced anything, because I think they're going to use the episode model to basically say, episodes are just going to continue to come out as long as we need them to come out before we're actually ready for the expansion. Because I think they've learned in the night and day difference between Lightfall versus Witch Queen that it takes more than a year to create a Destiny expansion.
Absolutely.
And so I think they're using this episodic model to basically say, now we can wait 2 years, 3 years, and feed the player base with content with episodes, and then we can actually make expansions at a pace that is sustainable and where the content actually meets expectation of the player base. That's my theory. And that's just based on the way they announced it, because they explicitly refused to talk about expansions or a timeline on that, but they did confirm that there's going to be more Destiny. And so I don't think that the episode model is them saying we're done making expansions for Destiny. Quite the opposite. I think they're just doubling down on bigger expansions that happen after multiple years rather than just 1 year.
That's a great theory because it's proof that they can't sustain the content drop delivery. It's just proof. The last 2 expansions I think they've all been delayed at some point. So, and then it kind of goes back to D1, where it was like the meaty cadence of expansion, and then it was that gap. But to Travis's point, I think it could happen. The seasonal model is just too much for them to take on. It just is. Narratively, they did a pretty solid job throughout most of it, and it's just the problem is the rudimentary nature of it. Gamers get tired. We kind of seen the whole go to the helm. It started to get so routine, so redundant, and it's just like I just think that this gives them probably more space as a studio, and they just don't have that bandwidth. It's clear they don't have all the bandwidth to do what they need to do. So yeah, I think that's a strong theory. I think that then it also gives them a nice window, a nice buffer to not put the pressure of, okay, the next expansion post is, this at this time, and maybe space things out. And look, the Destiny community, the key is going to be for them is the quality of these episodes. Because if the Destiny community feels that this is less than what seasonal model was, if they feel that some of the content is not innovative, they're going to push back. And there's a strong part of this community that wants to live in this game, even though that's not really realistic. And trust me, I used to be guilty of all this back in the day. And I've learned, thanks to E, you have to play other games. You have to do everything. You can't just be angry and try to live in this where I've come to that acceptance. But I think this may be their way to transition the community, but it has to be quality content. It has to be.
I mean, even if the episodes were basically the exact same thing as seasons, except for you only got 3 per 4 instead of 4, like the advantage is now there's longer run time so that players don't get exhausted as quickly because they're only doing 3 seasons per year, right? They can focus more on that content more, and they can release an expansion that is worth the wait. If Destiny expansions now take 2.5 years instead of 1 year, but they're way better, that's a fair trade to me. I don't need to log on every year to play a Lightfall campaign. That's just going to leave a bad taste in my mouth and burn me out on a game that I want to enjoy. And so I think that they're playing the long game with these episodes,
I
and
agree.
that's why I think it's felt weird to so many players because they're like, why aren't they talking about expansions? Are expansions dead? Is it just going to be episodes? I
Mm.
think the answer is no. Expansions aren't dead.
Mm.
I think that they're just playing it smart and they're planning for the
Yeah.
future, and that actually gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah, it basically it's an admission, right? It's a self admission of what we're actually capable of. But to Eve's point, if they half-ass this, if there's no cinematics at all, no storyboard stuff,
They even said they wanted to go harder on the seasonal, like 6-week drops
right,
when they do it. I'm going, I didn't expect that.
right.
And
If
that's,
if
yeah, that was
if
an
they
interesting one.
pack it, you know, yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine because it's like you say, there's nothing better than you like, yo, we got a great, you know, nice meal. Okay, you know, it's finished for now. We got like a 2-3 month, you know, window. Nothing's advancing just yet, but we played great content. It's still going to be all right. You know what I mean? That to me is more healthy for them. So they got to go hard. They got to go hard. They do put pressure on themselves during the breaks, though, because it's like the stuff that we played has to go hard. It has to be worth it. But hopefully this is you know, the right call for them. What do you
Well, it's
what
like,
did you guys say?
I mean, Travis has a good idea. My question
Mhm.
for you would be, do you think it's like episode 4 and then an expansion, maybe episode 5 and expansion? How many episodes after Final Shape till you get an expansion?
Look, Echoes March through June.
I
Revenant
think they're
July.
intentionally leaving it open because even they don't know the answer.
Yeah, I
But
think it.
if I had to guess, I think it'll be
Mhm.
5 or 6.
That's a lot of content, though. March,
Yeah, but
April,
they have a
May.
sustainable model there. They
Mhm,
have 2 teams working on it, Alpha and Omega. Now they each
mhm.
have more months than they did before to work. They basically have half a year.
Yep.
No, more than half a year. They
36
have
36 weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
36 weeks. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, we gotta see. We gotta see. In theory, it sounds great. It sounds great. We gotta see what these stories. Especially, there's gonna be a lot of pressure after the Light and Dark saga conclusion. Where is Destiny going?
Yeah,
People are
that's
like,
Yep.
is this because a lot of people like the dark?
That I'm
Yeah,
less hopeful about
yeah. A
because I
lot of
think
people.
that it's gonna feel a lot like Destiny has always felt, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, so they're just continuing."
Hmm.
I think that might be less successful. I'm not saying that I feel like the episodes are gonna be amazing.
Right.
I have not really liked the seasonal model at all, so if they just
Mhm.
do like a souped up version of that, I'm probably gonna like it minimally more than I like seasons, and I'm kind of
Mhm.
expecting that.
Yeah.
But I think the big win for the community is if you get a fantastic, 10 out of 10 expansion
Yes.
every 3 years instead of a half-baked one every year. I think that's huge 'cause it means we get to say goodbye to the Shadowkeeps and the Lightfalls
Hmm.
and those expansions,
Agreed.
and I think that's a win for everybody involved.
Agreed. Yeah, we get Witch Queens, Forsakens, Taken King level stuff. I'm all in.
yeah.
Exactly.
I was like,
I think that's what they're planning for personally, because they lost all their support studios. It just does not make
Yeah.
sense for them to do an expansion every
No
year, and
High Moon, no Vicarious.
I
Yeah.
think Lightfall taught them that more than
Right.
anything.
And to your point, Trav, you know, we have to admit they are still pulled into the Sony PlayStation Studios ecosystem
And
of
they're losing a lot
reviewing.
of developers. Yeah.
Yeah, what is the infamous term? The brain drain, right? So it's just like,
Brain drain.
yeah, they have to fulfill those commitments. That was part of it, going through each studio's multiplayer offerings and providing feedback and ratings. So maybe this is the cadence that can allow them to do it, and maybe the old one it was just unsustainable. And when we showed out on them and salute the Blackburn and everyone kind of coming forward and realizing they didn't really approach it right, and they actually came up with a plan. I'm pulling for them. I'm pulling for 'em. I hope this is it. I hope this is it for them.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, whether it's like maybe it's 4 episodes and then, at the start of the 4th one be like, "Hey, that'll give them, their 18 weeks or however many months that is." That's like 4.5 months
Yeah.
to start prepping for the next one, do your pre-orders. I mean, that's not quite like 6 months like they're kind of doing now, but I
Mhm.
mean, even one episode is going to be pretty long.
Yeah.
I wonder cuz they're going to come in 6-week chunks. And I
Mhm.
know as we were talking about, they were saying they're going to be a little meatier. The
Yeah.
biggest thing about every season, the moments when anybody cares, is when we get one of those like little cinematic moments or any of those that matter. And then we always get stuck with a lot of the filler.
Right.
if you have 3 drops 6 weeks apart and you come and you play, hey, here's a drop. It's got a little cinematic. We got cool story, and this thing's going to be a little bit, kind of a little capsule. And then you get the second one that comes in. If each one of those gets even just like a storyboard cinematic kind of thing, I've
Yeah.
heard them say the term too, and I forget what they called it. But if they have one of those in each, and then you get
Yeah.
some non-time gated but 6 weeks worth of content, and then they said they're going to be adding like activities and other stuff and all that in there, and each one of the episodes has an exotic quest. You've kind of got a decent cadence to it, but I think the biggest thing that I wonder is like, well, okay, then at that point, a lot of people like to buy the annual expansion pass because you buy the year.
Right.
And this will be the first time after the year of Final Shape purchases come out, be like, hey, you want to play the next season of Destiny? Be the first time that I wouldn't buy and expand like the whole year. That I might
Mhm.
be like, hey, I gotta buy episode 4 and maybe 5, who knows? Because the
Mhm.
expansion's gonna come after that. And then does that come as
No.
a group, or is that so their whole
No.
pricing model's about to change up post like this Final Shape year? That's
I
even probably
mean
as much as Travis is saying is like we don't know when the expansion coming, but the pricing model's got to change too.
I
I'm really curious
mean,
about that.
I'm very curious because they quick to tie that package deal of all 3 expansions with a hot exotic. That if you give us 150 now,
100,
you
but yeah.
can get the broken new darkness exotic and rain terror and you know how they do. So I'm not quick to absolve their little
Well,
practices.
that's why the weird thing is to say it's like if the annual pass, like here's the $100,
Mhm.
but if it is related to like Travis's idea, which I think they would love, even if it was just 4
Mhm.
episodes, even if it was just one more, that
Mhm.
would be about probably where some of the delays have gotten to. Instead of 12 months, like Witch Queen was 16 months, something like that. It was long
Mhm.
enough. It wasn't, I don't
I could see them doing 18 months, but I think even then it would probably be stretched. My guess is they're probably planning internally for 18 months and
Mhm.
with the option to delay for 2 years.
yeah.
That'd be my guess.
So I was like, I'm curious how that model is going to work, because then that'll be the first time even your hardcore people just spend the $100 every year, turn around and now you have just a standalone season. Everybody's going to have to get if they want to jump in, and I don't know if that's a point where if you did do the $100 for Final Shape and you've seen a couple of them, like what their fall off would be like. How hard would that season have to go to keep people around? It's in because the final expansion, buy all that, you do the pre-order bonus, you do those things, those kind of help sell themselves a little bit. And then when
Mhm.
you just have to do an isolated one, it gets a
Mhm.
little weird. So
Yeah. We gotta see how they handle that financial model. Gotta see. I don't know if they clean from their ways just yet. I don't know, Trav. They still got a little old school Bungie tendencies when it comes to the
A little bit.
finances.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
very
I don't like the payment model right now, but I think a bigger problem than the pay model is the content delivery model. I just think it's
Mhm.
not great when you can't trust the quality of content in a game that you love
Yeah.
because their entire team is just strapped for time pushing out
Yeah.
expansions as quickly as
yeah.
possible. I just don't think it results in a good
Mhm.
product. And I'm willing to wait for it. And I think most Destiny players are willing to wait for it too, especially if they have episodes to keep them busy
Mhm.
every 4 or 5 months. I mean, that sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Final question: How did the community? What's the consensus like when the
They
episodes were
they
announced?
were they were very confused about the
Yeah.
Mm,
episode thing and
It's
not happy about it. They thought that
really?
their assumption was that expansions are no longer going to happen. That's what a lot of the
Okay.
sentiment I saw online, and I just was like, I don't think you guys get it. So
Mhm.
um,
I was
I
like,
think there was a lot of confusion and upsetness about that,
Mhm.
but people did seem mostly happy about the direct. I had a couple pointed criticisms. I think it's very stupid that the pyramid ships are empty. We're
Mhm.
not getting a full mob for the
yeah, we get
the
like
main
just the
bad. I think that's
subjugators
really dumb.
basically. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
we
we're
get a
getting the
strain and a
subjugators,
stasis
one
guy.
one new mod instead of an entire army because that's what I thought was gonna happen, right? I thought that the Tormentor was a taste of the new
Right.
enemy type that was all gonna come, but instead we're just getting one more. So I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed by that. I love the idea of a linear location,
Mhm.
Yeah.
explorable world. I think that's super cool.
Yeah. If they can
Um,
pull that off, it'd be nice to just see a change in how the destinations are made. Nothing
Yeah.
else. Because we've had the 3 landing zone circle for a lot of years now. So I mean,
Right.
they've been pretty consistent on that one to give them the flexibility they want to do. And it may just be like 3 or 4 zones connected in a line. They just better have some landing spots. So I'm not driving halfway across the world. But um, yeah, I mean, yeah, we talked about it before. It's got potential, but I mean, general feedback was, what about year 11? And that was kind of one thing I was looking for too, is like, what is going to happen in that year? And they said more Destiny will come. I mean, even the developer said, hey, we're working on pistols that shoot mini rockets. We've got an auto rifle that heals. The exotics they're working on, where it's like a mini golden gun thing, like sniper rifle. They've got the Dragon's Breath that's going to come back. They
Yeah.
showed us like, so there was some stuff they're working on, which is, you know, some old, some new, more of that.
Mhm.
But it was more, I think, the idea of, there's not that revelatory moment of like, hey, this is the future. This is just like, the episodes are kind of a small shift from the season, but if we just
Mhm.
have 3 instead of 4 seasons, it does start afterwards. And it's like, whatever the first one is, Echoes, does take into account the events that happened during Final Shape, which I appreciate, because the story, big beats happen, whatever happens here, then you go do things. But people are like, it's just still unclear. They're keeping the cards closer to their chest, and I
Right,
think that's
yeah.
just going to be an interesting thing, which it makes perfect sense for the studio, for Travis to be spot on. Maybe they do want 5 episodes, but for them to turn around and say, when is it going to be? Is it next August that they have to turn around and sell this to the entire community? Be like, hey, we need 2 more episodes. We're looking at an expansion here in whatever that would be, October, who knows, like where that thing's going to fall, by the way, too. But I just think that's going to be an interesting that they have to try and sell.
Yeah.
I think for the studio, it would deliver better content. And if they can just be frank at some point and just say, hey, we want to deliver you guys better expansions, we just need more time to do it.
Yeah. I think this allows them that flexibility. They don't have to pin down to, okay, like the old Activision model. After these amount, then we're doing this.
Yeah,
expansion.
Diablo just said they're doing annuals.
Really?
Diablo 4 just said they were doing annual expansions. I think that came out. I've seen it all over my news feed.
Interesting.
And I was like,
Yeah.
all right. Not what I
That makes
expected.
sense.
Interesting.
It wasn't?
Uh,
You got to the end of the story in Diablo 4 and you thought, "Oh yeah, that's the end. They're not going to do
No,
expansions
I just
every
didn't
year."
think. I mean, as they were going to be doing seasons as well, and Blizzard isn't usually on the annual cadence as much. Like Blizzard specifically, they'll do like World of Warcraft's not most like. I figured
of
it might be
Duty.
like Call of Duty's Activision though, and that's still the Activision umbrella. But I figured it might be one of those where it's a little longer. They might do like something kind of like we're talking about, 4 or 5 seasons, and then they would do an expansion. Just might take them up. So I didn't expect the annual out of them. Maybe I should have, but
Yeah, I think because it's live service, I would expect there to be story content because I think live service knows that most players, the ones that aren't hardcore, leave after your main game and they only come back for expansion. So you kind of
Mhm.
need the big hits to bring back the casuals. Like myself,
Yeah.
I've sort of become a casual in Diablo 4, unfortunately. I was planning on playing every season and that already didn't work out for me. I didn't finish season 1. Season
Really? Oh,
2,
yeah.
I think, is already here. So,
Yeah, right. I didn't finish season
yep.
one. That's the season of the Malignant, right? The heart
yeah,
one?
season.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
didn't
finish
even
Like
it.
jump
half of
in.
it. I did half of it.
I didn't even
And
Yeah,
jump
I
in.
did half of it as well.
yeah,
I didn't even make it to the end,
me
and
neither.
I think season 2 isn't here yet, but I think it's coming real soon.
So the Malignant stuff is gonna be over that. All that heart stuff, putting
Yeah,
in the
Yeah.
jewels.
and you're gonna have to make new characters. Yeah.
Yep. Start over a new character
Yeah.
on
I
season 2
think
again.
I already missed it as far as I'm because I can tell. I think
Yeah, that
that ship has
train seems
sailed.
may have passed me
Yeah.
by, because yeah, doing a new character every time. Like
Bruh.
People love it,
I
man.
understand the
Diablo players
ARPG. Yeah,
love
I was
it.
like, I get it. It's kind of the thing, but for me, it's just
I know it doesn't click with me either, but
Yeah, like
because
I
it's
have
like, I mean,
attachment.
it's like deleting my Titan character every season and starting over through. But it's also like, it's not that you can go to the off story, but still to level up, you're generally probably going to do some of them. I mean, you can skip the campaign, but then you're still running around a lot of the same areas mostly.
yeah, Diablo players, the hardcore ones, like my
Mhm.
friend Kevin Babbage, shout out Kevin, love you, buddy. He's a diehard. He's played every season of Diablo 3, and he will play every season of Diablo
Jeez.
4. He will tell you, as many Diablo players will tell you,
Mhm.
quote, "I love the grind," unquote.
Yeah,
They
some
love
people
the
want to see the
ability.
number go up.
They like to just see they turn off their brain, they put on a Netflix show, and they just keep their hands busy while
That's a
they
podcast kind of
chill.
game.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what Diablo players love doing. They like to put on an anime and just zone out and like Diablo is one of those games where you could just turn your brain off and
yeah.
just go hard into
Good fun.
in the paint there. So I honestly think that's, and I get that, dude. Honestly, sometimes I'm in a mood like that too, where I just want like something to keep my hands busy while
Mhm.
I watch a show that people keep telling me I need to see or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah. For me,
it's
it's
a
just I
very
love the
different vibe.
game. Yeah, game's just a different vibe for me. I don't know if I can continue with this model, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm too attached to things that I build and loot that I get, and then it's just like every single season I have to start
Are
like
you guys gonna play Destiny after Final Shape?
we got to see what's going to happen, right?
I
We
mean,
got to
of course
see.
I will. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Are you
enjoying the variety on
bound?
the channel. Do what?
Mm.
Are you duty bound? You must play.
I mean, I
Yeah,
will play
I'm in.
probably as long. I will play as probably as long as it goes, just to still see what happens with the stories they tell and the characters
Mm,
involved, and they keep some of that stuff going. I mean, they've got voice actors that keep doing a really good job. So, I mean, I'm curious to see where the story goes and, what they do with characters, if they ever, drop last gen, if they change things up, or if they ever do a D3, that'll be the biggest one that everybody wonders about. But, I mean, even if they keep doing expansions, yeah, I'll be there for the journey. I don't know how I mean, the YouTube variety will help, I think, for me long term, because I do wonder about the population of just the player base long term. That's why, like, being able to play other things right now, getting more into other games, other reviews, other guides for me
yeah.
has to be a long term thing, because I honestly wonder what the drop off is going to be like. Final shape,
Mm,
couple weeks later, deuces.
yeah.
Some
No, for
people
me,
just want to see the end of the 10-year saga. And
yeah.
that's what I wonder is like, they've really got to do a good job to try and keep people
Mm,
around. Some will. I just don't know how many it's going to be. And
yeah.
that's a tough one.
For me, it's just I know my drug, and there's nothing, even through the ups and the downs, that replicates the gunplay, that replicates the music and the skyboxes. That it's like you said before, Trav. Like Diablo players, they just turn their brain off. Destiny's my turn my brain off, and I'm like, it's home, regardless. You know what I'm saying? And it's just nothing feels like that. So yeah, I'm in this thing. we married. Now,
Yeah.
granted, when they act up, I've been known to be like, all right, you're acting up. I'll be over here until you get it together. But for the most part, yeah, it's just that gunplay. Hercules, yeah, he said it best. It's just nothing replicates that feeling and the space magic combo thing. And still, I love raids. There's still certain things about it. It's just I can't find and replicate it in another game yet. Like some games have really good things, and I'm like, damn, but the gunplay. Or some games have the systems better, whatever. Like, it's just like, but certain things. So it just hits all the synapses for whatever reason. Mhm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you? Or, I
What
mean,
about
I
you,
know
Trav?
you
What's the
kind of play
retirement?
between scheduling, but
Mhm.
I'll play whenever IGN pays me to play.
Woo!
No, I'll continue to play.
Mm,
I've covered this game, and I think it's part of my niche at IGN. I do like live service
mm,
games are kind of my specialty, and that's allowed me to review games like Diablo and whatnot. So I think I'll at least be playing the expansions every year. But I mean, my time with the game has gone down a lot since the PvP situation has gotten progressively worse, which is most of what I did when I did play more regularly. And the seasons now, which I'm thankful for, this is a positive. This is not a complaint, Bungie. The seasons now require a lot less of your time
yes.
to get through and see the story, which I'm happy about. So,
Hmm.
I'll log on once a week for a couple hours. I'll do whatever they need me to do that week, and then I'll pop in a Crucible match maybe and see what's up there, and then I'll log off. Like that's pretty much my relationship with Destiny now,
Feel that
which
healthy.
I'm fine with. I
Yeah.
like playing other games. I kind of have ADHD with video games, and so Destiny has always been a game that's in my portfolio, but not where I spend most of my time. So yeah, I'll probably play. It just depends how much they're asking of me. It
Mhm,
sounds like they're going to be asking less of me,
mhm.
which sounds great to me, at least for a while. And then whenever an expansion comes out, I will leap at the opportunity to review those because I think
Gotcha.
they're awesome,
Nice.
mostly.
yeah, I
Unless
mean,
I
if
don't
if
think they're
if you get
awesome.
a chunk in 6 weeks, and then you get some content from that, and you get exotic quests for each episode, that you'll break that one down. You'll get a new activity. You'll probably have some secrets in there, and then you're gonna do what you can for a couple of weeks, and then you may like quiet off for a little bit, and then about a month later, then you'll come back for that like 2 week pop of Destiny, and then work on it. Another thing they hadn't mentioned is like any more reprised raids, or raids just going to be an expansion. Like those have been kind of an every other thing now, and this is so there's a lot I think that's up in the air with the model. Um, if they can tell good stories, which the narrative team generally has been on a positive tick upward most of the time, um, especially when they've been given time to develop the stuff, or we know certain seasons hit a little harder than others, but generally they've been decent. Some just nail it. Especially like Seraph is one that sticks out for me recently, and then you go all the way back to like Chosen. There's and Risen. Like there's some damn good stories in there. So I'm always going to be there for those. The exotic missions, you know, when they drop those, the fact that I know I'm going to get one every episode, we kind of get that many, but we don't even get that many in a year sometimes. We get like 2. Right. So if we're going to get 3 in a year, and there's always an exotic weapon, exotic thing like that, and the kind of the way they describe the artifact too, where you get your 25 in the first 6 weeks, and then you get up to, then you got another row up top with more, another row up top with more. And then if you play a lot, they've got, you know, they're going farther out with 200 ranks in the season pass of more things if you do put that much time in. So it's like, there's going to be stuff to do, but I also really am going to love, because like right now I want to play Armored Core and Sea of Stars. Those are my 2 that I really want to jump into. Sea of Stars, I'm loving seeing the reviews. A couple of guys like Rook, I know, is playing it right now, and he's just like, dude, I'm loving this game. So I'm like, I can't wait to jump into that, just stream it, and enjoy whatever 25, 30 hours. Or I saw Gerard's, if you guys know Gerard the Completionist, his video about that game is awesome, because his first interaction with Sabotage Studios, and then getting the messenger and like talking to a bunch of people and watching the launch of that one. And then he's actually got a character in Sea of Stars, which is cool. It's, I'm really, and then Armored Core is like going to scratch the itch outside of like Liza P and Lords of the Fallen Combs. There's like 4 games I want to play outside of my giant Spider-Man I'm waiting on.
Oh yeah.
And that's the rest of my year. So, I mean, I've got enough to fill in the gaps. I don't know if I'm going to be, you know, how it's going to be content wise. That's why when things are good, great, and we'll see how it goes in the other side. So
congratulations on the Starfield videos, those guys.
Yeah, one of them did really well. The others have been a little smaller, and then, you know, even a couple Destiny videos now did okay. But yeah, when those big tips videos have gone like top 20 tips, I wish I knew at level 1. Like that thumbnail, for whatever reason, probably having like beginner's guide in the title, I am so far, knock on wood, they've done well. So if those can keep being a nice thing, then, you know.
That's your lane, bro. You've always had that. That's cool. Because if we were asking it, you know, half of these new players don't know what's going on in this game.
So, I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, Rook's playing Sea of Stars. So I mean, I've got stuff I'm looking forward to enjoying my breaks on too.
Yeah, for me, I'm probably gonna now. The cool thing about getting access to Starfield was like, okay, I actually might be able to sneak in the Phantom Liberty. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to. So I really want to do that, because I could do a fresh playthrough. They've revamped so many systems.
I didn't get that far into that, so I never got to. So this sounds like if I am going to do it, that's.
Yes, it's that's probably a good complete revamp on that, and then, you know, the extra content. So we got that. Obviously, I'm a big fighting game, so Mortal Kombat's gonna be huge for me. I got my eye on Mirage, because I never liked
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I've never liked the newer Assassin's Creed direction, and this seems to be like
Casual.
Yeah. And I don't like them Odysseys. It's just too much. It ain't no stealth. It's just fighting out in the street versus. I like old school when you
get good.
I heard Cassandra with Odyssey was worth the journey. That's probably the best one I heard.
The games are amazing. It's just, to me, not Assassin's Creed.
It's a different genre,
that's all. Games are dope. I know it's just not for me. I'm the old guy that used to like when they used to go through Jerusalem with the hood.
You don't like being a stealthy Viking? Those were a thing, right? Vikings famously known for their stealth tactics.
Their stealth, yes.
So known.
Yeah, that was the worst idea for a game.
Like, I get it. They went for the bag. So yeah, I like the setting. I like the setting with this one. So I got my eye on
Mirage.
Mirage. I like
Mirage.
Yes.
Stay with that accent.
Exactly. So if they knock that out, all right, you got me. And of course, Spidey. We got to see what's going on with Spidey and Venom and all that good stuff. So that'll wrap up my year. What about you, Trav? You reviewing like 10 games?
Yeah, I got like 10 more games coming this year. That's not even a joke. Yeah.
No, I know, because you do small ones. Because like trying 5 out of nowhere, bam, knocked out that review. I'm like,
boom, bang it out, boom, got it done. I think, I'll be playing all the major stuff that comes out. I do want to make time to go back and play Baldur's Gate. I feel like that's kind of a big game I need to roll credits on, and I am nowhere close. Actually,
that's another one. Oh my god, that's like 120 hour giant.
Yeah, when I do play that, I probably will end up making a new character, because I'm like 60 hours into one character, but I'm already like, think I'm gonna redo this. I played as Gale, which feels like it was a mistake. I don't know. I kind of want to just do something else. So I'm probably just gonna start over. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Sea Stars, I need to get around to. It's on my backlog.
Great things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna review like 10 more games this year, and then
Are you doing
that's
Phantom
the thing
Liberty
about
at all?
reviewing games. What's that?
You doing Phantom Liberty at all, or not so much? The Cyberpunk.
Oh,
expansion.
yes, I beat. So that's actually another story. Is I finally beat Cyberpunk. I
Mm.
finally beat the campaign. It took me 2 years or whatever. But yeah, before Starfield came out, I was like, I need to beat Cyberpunk or I never will. So I went and I beat it, and I'm glad I did. So yeah, that was cool. Yeah, bunch of games I need to catch up on, but that's the thing about reviewing games is sometimes you don't get to pick your own what you play, right?
Yeah.
You kind of just
Got it, yeah.
follow the nomadic trail wherever it leads you. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. Oh yeah, Cocoon. That game looked sweet. I've seen
You
that a
know
few
what that
times
one
at
is called?
shows.
Cocoon.
That's the one where you dive in, right? To the
It's from half of the inside and Limbo guys.
yeah,
Because remember they split,
you
right?
dive like a level
Split.
deeper
Oh, this is the
into
other half.
world.
This is the other
Somerville, this is the other half.
Yep.
I think I
This
saw.
is the one where you dive deeper into the world, right?
Yes.
Like you go you Remind me
Yeah, I
of
got to check it out.
Inception.
Those are my peoples that split up. Yeah, I got to see what the other half are doing.
Yeah, September seemed lighter, but then October, yeah, like Forza. I'm literally debating on buying like the Fanatec.
Oh, Forza! How'd you let me
about
forget
Forza.
about that?
Like
that
I'm
game's gonna
debating
be
on buying
awesome.
like the $500 like actual weight resisted wheel, like full on setup with like
Does
pedals.
it come with the chair? I've always wanted the chair that you can put the wheel on and the pedal at the bottom.
Yeah, you
and then
can get that as a package.
Oh, yeah, that sounds amazing.
Like that's one I definitely want to do for sure. You got Super Mario Brothers Wonder and Spider-Man on the same damn day.
That's crazy. I
I'm
forgot
gonna
about
choose
that.
Mario on that one.
Oh,
I tend to lean
Mushroom
Nintendo.
Mario on
I tend to lean
shrooms, bro.
Nintendo, baby. I love Nintendo.
It's so weird. It's fun. I love it.
Ghost Runner 2 actually looks pretty sick with the bike.
Oh yeah, Ghost Runner's gonna be cool.
Alan Wake
There's
2.
also an Avatar game coming this year.
That's December. Alan Wake 2 is actually looking.
Wait, dude.
Like September is kind of light with Lies of P, and then you got Cocoon in there. October goes hard again. October's
not light for me. Mortal Kombat in September.
Lords of the Fallen in September.
Lords of the Fallen sitting right in the middle. Yep.
There's some big ones.
And the November
is Lords of the Fallen right in the middle? I kind of thought it was
October 13th.
Lords of the middle of October.
Okay. Yeah, in the middle of October.
Thank God. Okay, so that means I'm going to get it end of this month.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to look. Yeah, and then Avatar is December, and that's kind of like my only thing there. Yeah, there's plenty because there's not enough time for September for me to play everything I want to play, and then October just throws like 5 more on the pile. But yeah, I was like,
if I beat Baldur's Gate in the campaign of Starfield in 2023, I will be amazed at myself.
That'd be impressive.
I will be so impressed because I'm on weird stuff, man. Like I'm previewing Airport Simulator for Ryan McCaffrey. Like this is the levels of depravity I go to. In my bag. You know, I was playing Skull and Bones last week. That game exists.
Yeah, I saw that exists. I was like, okay.
Yeah. That was our headline.
Date, but...
Our headline was Skull and Bones is a real game, and we played it. Yeah, so it's fun, man.
Next week, I finally get to see what phone I get to order since I've been holding onto this thing for way too long.
You step your game up there.
I have an iPhone X. It is literally 6 years old. So
that is old.
I am due for an upgrade. There was a point where the battery like started to do that whole like battery expand thing. The screen was like slowly coming up. I was like, this is bad. So I took it in and I got a fresh iPhone X, which is the only reason it probably made it this long because it was brand new out of the box. Hadn't been like, running down. But now it's the point where like Face ID is not working. And I'm like, all right, I got like a couple weeks. So I'm really tired of putting in my code and stuff. But it's time.
Yeah, it's time.
Well, that's probably a good place to wrap this thing up. Thank you. Yeah, Avatar might be my first Far Cry because I've never played a Far Cry. So,
oh man, you share that.
Yeah, it's like one of those that I kind of missed. So yeah, we got enough stuff to do. But yeah, just kind of keeping up with the story. And then just any other guides that I'm gonna do. What do you guys got cooking? That stuff you can't really talk about, I'm sure, for you, Travis.
Tune in next week for me. I would just say about stuff I can't talk about now. And I'll be back. Vroom vroom. Be good to get back with my brothers. And yeah, so I did a nice DD with Maddie. So that was fun to kind of reunite with
I
him.
want to
And
watch that. I want to hear what he has to say about Starfield because
yeah,
I had a feeling he would be harder on it, but maybe I'm wrong.
I would
Did he end up
highly
loving it? Is he a 9 out of 10 guy?
No, I would highly recommend you listen to the Gene Park discussion of us three. And I felt he was fair. I feel with his
Nice.
criticism. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm
what you
all
got
for
going?
fair assessments of video games.
Mhm.
I have to be a champion of it for some reason. Yeah, Lies of P. My review is going to be live on September 13.
Nice.
Very excited about that. I've got Payday 3. I've got Lords of the Fallen. I've got a bunch of previews of games. I played Path of Exile 2. Got a preview up on that. You can watch Skull and Bones. Now I've got Airport Simulator coming in. I've been writing a whole bunch of guides, videos, and written guides on the wiki for Starfield.
Nice.
And what else? Oh yeah, I'm going to be on Podcast Beyond. I think the episode is coming out on Wednesday to coincide with the Liza P
Nice.
embargo lifting, and we're just going to talk a lot about puppets and good times there. And yeah, you can also watch me on Bitcast every week if you want to see me argue with 3 elderly men. Good times.
Shout out to Dan for like he saw I was at PAX, and I guess like I was in the Sega Atlas booth, and they had these rare Yakuza pins. Bro, you've got to give me this pin. And I'm like, really, Dan? Like you're going crazy?
Dan loves Yakuza. He's obsessed.
I had no idea
obsessed.
his love was that.
Yeah.
I said,
He's
bro,
hardcore. He makes you look like a Yakuza casual.
Yeah, I didn't even care about the pin. I was like, bro, I got you. Just tell me, I'll grab one.
He's played every Yakuza game multiple times.
Jesus.
He like even the new one that just came out.
Yeah,
where it takes place in the little. Yeah,
Yep,
I played them, but I
one.
usually only make it a couple hours in. The only one I was addicted to was our boy Ichiban.
Yes,
like a dragon.
Yeah, like a dragon.
That's the goat right there.
That's the goal. And then I played the man who erased his name at PAX. It was really good. But back to the traditional beat 'em up style, it's cool. I will say Persona Tactica really impressed me for turn-based fans. That game really cool. Yeah, I would highly recommend that one. E?
Yeah, me more Starfield, and then I was like, I'm trying to see if I can get into Liza P or maybe something. So, but I do want to try and jump into that, whether it's at release or if I get a chance to play it early, we'll see. And then kind of peppering the other stuff that I missed. Starfield missed a couple in there, so that's been 120 hours so far, and I've been trying to just kind of finish up last few things and kind of the first playthrough, and then just kind of at least get to a little New Game Plus and tinker in there. But I probably won't go like New Game Plus 5 or anything like that. For some people have been going a little crazy on.
Like New Game Plus 3, 4. Like that's all he's doing. I heard.
Yeah.
Someone tell me.
Yeah, it was Tassie and Greg Miller. They were actually talking back and forth. I guess they got to New Game Plus like 3, 4, 5. There's some stuff that you can focus on for that. But yeah, there's try not to spoil anything. Keep it reasonable for now. But that's haven't been streaming as much because I haven't really been able to show. And then even when embargo came up, my save was at a point where I couldn't show you anything, so it didn't really matter. So been off the streams for a bit, but still been on the YouTube, so you guys know where to find me here. Find these gentlemen on IGN, Iron Lords Podcast, Defining Duke, IGN, Defining Duke, just all the places. Yeah, anything else from you guys?
That's it, bruh.
All right, well, for this episode number 263, wrapping it up here at a nice little, almost perfect 2 hours. Thank you guys very much. Chat, you guys have been awesome. Thank you. We only had one weird person in here tonight. Seems like we got rid of them. And I think for the evening, we are in a good spot. So for this episode, it has been
the last word.